Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast, episode 216. We're missing Sean tonight. I think he might have gone hot tub shopping. So he'll be back, I think, next week. Now he's watching, I think that because the Knicks are playing tonight, he's got all excited. He even posted a picture of other people's jerseys on his timeline. So he's really excited about the Knicks and I mean, obviously people who watch this show have
First
seen
round loss, baby.
Quite the roller coaster ride.
First round loss.
Although I feel like the emotion of the playoff game would be very, very fun to watch him react to live during a podcast. But I'm sure he'll be back next week. And then Miss Click was dealing with a few things. She'll most likely be popping in here and there. So, but got plenty of people here to talk about a bunch of stuff this week. Should be really fun. We have Jordan Fringe. Jordan, how you doing?
Hi, good to be here. Thanks for having me. Sorry if my demeanor's a little bit off tonight. I'm dealing with the side effects of the second shot for the, So yeah, sorry if I'm a little quiet tonight.
Not a problem, Jordan. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. And then we have Dreamcast guy Max. How you doing?
Fantastic. Still playing Mass Effect like everybody else is. So it's good. It is
Mass
a good
Effect.
game. I'm still impressed. It's been a week and I wasn't here last week. I'm still impressed by how good that is. That game aged. I actually think it might be better now than it was.
Can it win?
Yeah.
It's much better. Can it win Game of the Year? Can we win Game of the Year?
Why not?
I mean, it looks a lot
Game
better.
of the Year, dude. Let's give that Game of the Year, dude.
It's my game of the year.
It's new. Some of that DLC I never played. It's new to me. It's a new game.
There you go. Nice. Nice. Then we have MVG back with us tonight.
What's going on? Great to be here. And I'm still playing Mass Effect. I've finished the first one. I'm into number 2 now, which is the best Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Don't at me on that because it's true.
Oh,
and I love it. I love it.
That's fact. Nobody's gonna at you. No, that's facts. That's Mass Effect.
Then we got OJ, Player Essence. How's it going?
Going pretty good. Checked out the Scarlet Nexus demo, and it is a sleeper hit.
I just downloaded it, so I'm gonna check it out.
It is
tomorrow
a
or
sleeper. If you like Bayonetta,
Nice.
Astral Chain, all that type of stuff, it is very good. Very good. Kind of corny on some things, but very good.
Did anyone download Knockout City?
I have the demo. I have the game. I just haven't played it yet, but I do have the game. I'm gonna check it out.
It's pretty fun. I played it a little bit. It was pretty fun. I bought
Yeah.
Miitopia, but that's still in the plastic, so there's that. We got Nate. Nate the Hate. What's going on, Nate?
Watching the Celtics game against the Nets and also dealing with a little stiffness at a point of injection from COVID vaccine number 2, but I had no problems with the first vaccine, so I'll power through this one pretty easily.
All right, very good, very good. Then we have Evan, of course, monitoring the chat, making sure the whole show is running. Good to have Evan here as well. Very cool. So there was a bunch of stuff that happened this past week, as we did have TimeSplitters get or at least its revival announced. We'll see what happens with that whole thing. But I figure we could talk about TimeSplitters attempting to exist now compared to back then with the PS2 and all of that. And then we have that whole Zelda Amiibo controversy that I thought would be interesting to take a look at. And then we have Square Enix at E3. As we're going through towards E3, building up some of the hype, we're taking a look at different companies. I thought tonight we would look at Square Enix because we had word that there may or may not be a Final Fantasy game getting announced for Sony and PlayStation. Kind of unexpected on that one since we're still also talking about Final Fantasy 16. So should be, I think, a lot of fun here. Evan, do we want to change things up here and start with a Discord question? Oh, also we do have a sponsor tonight as well. It's Honey. So stay tuned a little later on and we'll talk a little bit about Honey.
All right, we had a couple questions last week for MVG, but he was not here. So.
Oh, that's right. We can catch up on this. All right, cool.
So let's go with, you said last week that, or 2 weeks ago at this point, that the GameCube games played with a component cable on the GameCube offered superior visual quality to playing them on a Wii console. Is this still the case if you're using component cables on the Wii, and is there any difference when playing on PAL consoles?
The GameCube has a better image quality than the Wii, and it doesn't matter how you do it really. So yeah, if you got a Wii and a GameCube side by side and you got component cables on both, official component cables, the GameCube is still gonna look better playing GameCube games.
Okay, good to know on that one. Good to know. Just go with the OG hardware and be done with it, basically.
Yeah, or just get the HDMI solutions because they're really cheap and they're really cool.
Yeah, very good. Compared to those component cables, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Those component cables.
Yeah,
That's a collector's item at this point than anything else.
Yeah.
We got other ones for MVG.
Yep,
Evan,
one more that last week we didn't know if Diablo 2 Resurrected or I'm guessing this is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance were getting physical releases on consoles. He was wondering how likely it is that limited run games might take the helm for that.
Okay, well, I will tell you that I have no idea about the inner workings of what limited run games is coming up with next, but Diablo, that seems a little out there because I don't know, have they done any Activision Blizzard type stuff before? I don't think they have, but the Baldur's Gate one, that may be something that they could possibly look at doing because I think it's kind of up their alley. So if I had to pick which one, I'd probably say Baldur's Gate may get one, but I don't think Diablo is going to get one. I'd like to see it though.
Same.
All right, very good. Do you want to go to a new one for this week, Evan?
Beyond Good and Evil 2 at E3? Question mark.
Oh, I don't know. Do they need more music from fans?
Yes, it'll be there. I'm actually working on the streaming aspect of the game. Just want to announce that today. I'll be the lead streamer on that game. So yeah, no, it's in development. Trust me, I got sources, bro.
I'm not streaming anything for Ubisoft.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
they'll be copyright striking left and right.
You can help develop the game. It'll be fun.
Oh gosh. We got another Discord question, Evan.
We had a guy bring up a thought based on the consoles having kind of worldwide scarcity, the new ones. Do you think companies might start focusing on trying to do more worldwide releases, kind of like Dragon Quest going to multiple things, like just to try to cover that whole scarcity by being like, we're still doing stuff?
I mean, that makes
worldwide
sense to me.
releases?
Yeah, put
Like
out
just
worldwide
in
releases
general?
of games that usually don't. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, Sega is doing it with the new Judgment game. So if Sega can do it, anyone can do it. So yeah, I'm gonna say I hope so, because like for example, the next Persona game I would assume would do that. The big one will be, and we should find out this week, right? Most likely, we'll see if they go that far into it or if it's even mentioned. Something with a new Dragon Quest game getting a worldwide release would be cool, because that would, for Dragon Quest, because that's a game, it'll come out in Japan and then like a year, sometimes more, it'll come out in the US.
That's the big test is Dragon Quest. There's like 2 holdovers. There's obviously like the smaller games, there's the Falcom stuff, but if you're talking about like major games, it's Sega, it's like SMT, Persona, and Dragon Quest. Those are because there's so much dialogue. Dragon Quest has an insane amount. Like, I don't envy those translators, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, because it does take a long time to do that. So we'll see. We'll see. But the good news is that, like you said, it's going to be in English. That Dragon Quest presentation, there will be subtitles in English for the first time ever. They've been doing these for a long time. So that tells you something, that they're at least going to try to get it out sooner than before. And SMT 5 is simultaneous worldwide release. First time ever for any SMT or Persona game.
I think these companies are seeing really how valuable the Western audience is now, where we've had games like Disgaea become more popular in the West than they are in Japan at times. So I feel like they're kind of looking at it and saying, well, it makes more sense rather than have possible spoilers maybe hurt sales of the game in the West down the road or something, or even people attempting to pay more to import it. Let's just release it everywhere if we can get it done. So,
well, I've always thought that, I was pondering this week, which is basically the fact that I feel like people are talking more about sales numbers and sales data. That's more something like gamers care about, and I feel like it looks weird when you only release it in one region and it sells like 10,000 copies. It's like, well, that's a lot for that. So worldwide releases, definitely, if we sell 5 million copies the first week, it definitely looks better.
Yeah. Like Monster Hunter used to be staggered release too. Like it come out in Japan and then it come out here, you know? And then they just did worldwide releases, and then they can talk about how great the sales numbers are for like Rise or for World or whatever the case is. So
okay, very good. So do we want to go into we'll go into our first topic here. That's the Amiibo controversy, and there's actually quite a bit to this, more than I was expecting when it was kind of, because it was shown. I was like, that's a cool looking Amiibo, and then really I think it came down to like the price and then its functionality that got people going a bit wild online there. But this is the Zelda and Loftwing Amiibo, which I'll say first off, the Amiibo looks, I think the Amiibo looks great.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's a good looking Amiibo, and we'll see, I guess, the quality of it coming out of the factory, but a lot of people are just going to leave it in the packaging, I assume. So they'll see it from outside the plastic. Really, they won't get that real close look at it.
We're going to touch the whole box to their controller.
Yeah,
It doesn't stand. I've tried it.
they
It
have
doesn't
something.
stand.
They have something underneath it. From what I
Yeah.
remember, that blocks that
There's some
NFC.
shielding. Yeah, there's some shielding under
Yeah,
there.
it blocks it. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Then why buy? I don't know. I think it looks. I don't think it looks good, but if I get it, it's only going to be for the functionality.
Well, back then, I guess they assumed people would take their 3DS or now even the Switch to the store and just start scanning these things at like at like a Toys R Us or something where it's like kind of in the back. They can just start scanning them. But the big thing was over on Nintendo's website, it reads, if you then use the Zelda and Loftwing amiibo again while in the sky, you can return to the spot on the surface where you used it before. This in reference to the ability to essentially teleport from where you are to the sky and then back again, which was something you would normally have to go to a save point to do. So it's basically a shortcut if you have the amiibo on hand when you touch it to your Switch Joy-Con, which has been described in many different ways. It's been described as a cheat code. It's been described as quality of life. It's all over the place online right now. But what's interesting to me is this isn't new necessarily for Amiibos when it comes to just extra things being like gated behind the Amiibo. But I kind of think this might have been a perfect storm for it, considering no one really cares about Metroid. I mean, at the time when it dropped on the 3DS with Samus Returns, because that had like an entire like mode locked behind the Amiibo.
Yeah, difficulty.
Yeah, and it had like the Zero Suit too, from what I remember. Like,
Yeah,
it was like all this stuff. But no one really bought that game. Let's be honest about that one.
What about Twilight Princess on Wii U? Didn't that have a thing where if you scanned Wolf Link, you could instantly become Wolf Link anywhere or something?
That was Skyward. I think it was Breath of the Wild. You can like the Wolf Link comes out and like he'll help you. But Twilight Princess, that has like a dungeon area and an item exclusive.
That's what it was. Yeah.
To the Amiibo. And like here's another bad one. Nobody bought this game as much too, but Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia, that has 2 exclusive dungeons, like whole gameplay paths with that, but nobody cared about that either. You know,
Yeah. I think there's a couple things with this one. One, people were already, it was already a controversial release because the game's, $60. That was a whole thing when they first showed that. And then on top of that, it's the Switch, which is, I mean, it's Nintendo's most popular system that they've probably really done, especially in the home console space. And then it's Zelda. So like you stack all these things up and there's just a lot more eyes on this situation. So even if they've pushed the Amiibos in the past, this is like, and the Amiibo is more expensive. It's $25, I guess. So like a lot of things added up to where people were like, well, hold on, let's take a look at this here.
John, you know what I have the problem with? I don't have the problem because I've played through Skyward Sword multiple times. I don't have the problem with the functionality because the functionality is stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, if you've played Skyward Sword, this is dumb. There's bird statues all over the place. It's literally stupid. The problem that I have is how they presented it. They should have said, hey, you can go through multiple times and teleport wherever with these bird statues. They're all over the place. But for those who maybe need a little bit of help, here's this for you. I would have presented it that way. The way that they made it seem as if you're going to be traveling back and forth all the time and you're going to need a bunch of stuff. No, you don't. Skyward Sword is one of the easiest Zelda games. It's not hard, even on hero mode.
Yeah, well, because the whole point was that was they're still during that early. We're figuring out motion controls. I feel like they had to make the difficulty low for the people that just literally were limp-wristed kids who couldn't even swing fast enough.
So that's the issue that I have. Is I have the issues with the way that they presented it, because most of us are not going to even care about using this at all. You're not going to need it. But the way that they presented it, they made it seem as if it's like Breath of the Wild. You're going to be going back and forth, and you need to teleport to different places. So I have a problem with how they presented it because most people haven't played this game, right? Most people have not played this game. It's one of the worst selling. I think Majora's Mask is the other one.
But and that one you need an expansion pack for. This one you need the Wii Motion Plus, but it was like on the back half of, or the back end of the Wii.
The very back end of the Wii. They re-released it on like the Wii U, I think. So that's just the problem I have, is that they didn't do it better. They should have done a better job with exactly explaining, like in terms of things, but the functionality is dumb. I think it's like Funky Kong. It's just stupid functionality in my opinion.
I did a video about this week. I actually think that part of the reason people are mad is because the controllers as well. So the fact that originally when you bought Skyward Sword on Wii, it came with a gold controller and Wii Motion Plus built in and the game all together for $60, and now you're paying $60 for the game, $80 for those controllers, which is obviously optional, and the $25 for the Amiibo, which is obviously optional. But I think a lot of people, like I've noticed a lot of Nintendo collectors just being like, man, all right, so I'm paying hundreds of dollars to get the same experience. I think it's just that of like people being pushed.
You needed well, there was two versions of it. So that's like the collector's edition that you're talking about. I think that was 70. The regular game was, I think, 50. So the regular game was it? Yeah. So like the regular game was 50 because Wii games were $50, but it needs Wii Motion Plus.
Right.
So that's
they had to give you that one. Yeah.
They had to give that option because it needs Wii Motion Plus. Either you have the dongle or you have the other controllers that were built in with it. So it needed
which looks so good.
Yeah, so obviously it looks better with the regular one. Not the dongle one looks stupid. So I mean, yeah, there's like it just looks weird.
It looked terrible.
Yeah, it did look terrible.
All right, Nate, let's hear it.
No, it's bad business. It's that simple, and it's a multitude of issues. Right now, we are operating under the idea that this functionality is the only quality of life change made to Skyward Sword for Switch. They have not announced a single, piece of evidence of another quality of life change.
I do want to say the new controls look fantastic, and that is a pretty big quality of life change, in my opinion. As somebody who doesn't like motion controls, the fact that I'm going to be able to use the right stick, I think that's big.
It is a big change, but is that change alone make the game a $60 effort?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. To me, it is. I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. But I'm buying it purely because of that, because I did not like the motion controls.
The functionality of Amiibo should have been standard. This should have been an element that if I'm in the dungeon, and for whatever reason I want to go back to Skyloft, I should be able to access it from an in-game menu. The fact that it is regulated to an Amiibo that is going to have supply issue, that is $25, is just absurd. And we've already mentioned other egregious acts that Nintendo have locked, like Metroid with, a whole mode, or Fire Emblem with dungeons, or Twilight Princess with a whole area locked behind an Amiibo. This is absurd. This is ridiculous business. Amiibo should function with what we've seen in previous Zelda games of scan this, you get a potion, you get some hearts, you get basic items that really don't affect the overall experience. If you were playing Wind Waker HD on the Wii U and they locked the Swift sale behind an Amiibo, nobody would say, "Oh, well, you don't need it to beat the game." You're right, you don't need it. But that's a really, really nice benefit to have. And this is a similar thing. It's ridiculous that Nintendo continues to lock basic functionality behind an optional accessory. This should be in-game, or it should be an option that you can unlock in-game. And people say, well, maybe it's something that the game will have as a basic function. Nintendo has not communicated that yet. So we have to operate that this is locked to the Amiibo. And such functionality should not be locked to an Amiibo.
What would you have the Amiibo do, Nate?
Have the Loftwing drop you a health item. Drop you a potion when you need it. Something like that. Something that doesn't really impact the overall quality. It's just a quick assist.
What if it gave you like a different cosmetic item, like different clothes?
As long as the clothes can also be unlocked by progression through the game, fine.
Okay.
You shouldn't unlock any particular item or functionality to an overpriced limited stock.
I'm trying to find the line here where like we're a little too far, not quite. That's what I'm trying to figure out for what like you're thinking here with.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. Let's use Demon's Souls on the PlayStation 5, and Sony came out with a exclusive Demon's Souls controller, and it locked one of the rings to the controller. Would people defend that action? Of course not. That's ridiculous.
How can one of the rings?
Xbox Killer would.
What rings are you talking about? What do you mean?
They're like random items that have special magical
abilities. Special attributes for your character. So you might be immune to poison. You might be immune to
rolling as cheat,
damage, fire, things like that.
Is that the same as like a cheat or like a hack like this? Like that
so this is? It sort of is, because if you're immune to poison and you're fighting a boss that fucks the whole area up in poison, yeah. Like it's kind of
I'm saying like that's like an exclusive like item. This is like a bird statue that's like all over the place.
No, the trick is it's usable in dungeons though, which supposedly don't
have. The game is already extremely easy as hell. Why
But
would
still,
any
it
gamer
shouldn't
want to
be-
use that?
It just shouldn't be locked to this toy. It should be
No, I
accessible.
agree. I'm just saying,
it
like,
should be
this is-
accessible to all the players. Whether it's like you have to complete Dungeon 1 to unlock this ability, fine. Nothing should just be locked to the Amiibo exclusively. It should be something I can earn in game, buy with rubies, whatever. Like if they locked a big bag for rubies where you can hold 1,000,000 rubies to the Amiibo, it's kind of like, well, that's stupid. If in the game I can only buy one that holds up to 1,000.
You know what's weird about this? I feel like they didn't even have to do any of this, and the Amiibo still would have sold.
Of course, because no one's actually buying these Amiibos for functionality. They buy it for collector's sake.
They're just gonna leave it at that,
And that's where the argument of they have to give the Amiibo some sort of function to justify, people buying it.
I don't think
The
they have
percentage
to.
of people buying it for functionality is slim to nil.
It's weird. Like they could have just been like, "Here's the Amiibo. It does health item or something," and it would have still sold
And
out.
people would have been fine with that. They didn't have to do this. And
Maybe they want you to buy two.
They did is just weird.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be scalped, which I think sucks. But additionally, I wish more games did. I love Skyrim on Switch. I love Skyrim on Switch, and I thought it was really cool that if you scanned any Zelda amiibo, you would randomly get a treasure chest that could give you the hero's tunic or the master sword. And they kind of sucked. They were pretty good early on, but I liked it where it's like, all right, if you happen to have this very easy to find thing, you get a random small benefit. But the idea of a fast travel locked behind it is a little bit weird. But
how much is you have some amiibos up there, OJ? One of them I remember you saying was worth some decent money just from it being sealed.
This one right here, this one's worth. And by the way, Nate, I agree with what you're saying in general. I just hate the messaging that Nintendo had with it. This one right here is worth $300.
Oh, which
right
one's that?
yeah, I can't see it.
Corn.
Get that close to camera.
You can still scan
no.
it through the box though, right? Like you can just
Corn, but it's only the female corn. The male corn's not worth. The male corn's still worth it, but this one's worth about 300 perfect sealed. So like they just didn't. Like, they're like, who's gonna care about Fire Emblem Fates female corn? Nobody cares about this.
It's like the villager. It's like the villager that I told John to buy, and he was like, I don't know if I want to get this. Now it's expensive.
We'll make
I do
this
have it.
one
I have the
almost
villager.
worth
Hell yeah.
Almost 100. Bayonetta player 1 Bayonetta. For some reason, that's like worth almost 100. You can't find it anymore. So I mean, I don't know.
I just feel like, especially this one during the Zelda anniversary and all, like it was gonna sell out, no sweat. So it was weird that they were like, let's make it so you can teleport around with it, like because I mean 80% of them aren't even gonna be used anyway. So you just throw away feature and call it a day. And I feel like it would have been fine. So like this could have been something that Nintendo could just kind of just walked right past. Instead, they like just ran right into the traffic with it. So is it like Jordan? I saw a video this past week on Twitter. Okay. And it involved people going to Walmart to get Pokemon cards. In my mind, I am picturing this Amiibo as that.
I was gonna say something about that, but like you're looking at people who are very narrow-minded with how they think making a lot of money works, flipping cards, newer product, and the way they're doing it, grown men running into a Walmart, attacking each other, ripping Pokemon cards and sports cards off the shelves. Very little you know what energy there for sure, and it's just sad to see.
It doesn't Target not carry that stuff anymore?
Target, as of right now, is pulled out of selling everything but I think Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh for the most part, because no one's going after those cards.
That was a Walmart though. That looked wild.
That Walmart for sure is probably going to. Walmarts do on an individual basis if they stop doing cards. So some Walmarts have. Not all of them, so I'm pretty sure that Walmart will definitely.
They could put them behind the counter like cigarettes with a sign that's just like one per customer.
Is it just like online now to get Pokemon cards, Jordan?
That's one of the main ways to now. It's bad right now. Still surprised.
That's a bit out there for that. I mean, you think it's ever gonna get better? They'd have to like just completely
it will get better. Specifically, like it's the main thing is like it's the sports cards people also jumping in and grabbing the Pokemon, because the sports cards are where like the real
makes
money
sense.
is at.
Money,
That's where we're trying to go. But Pokemon gets lumped in there, and right now Pokemon's pumping out a bunch of prints, so they're gonna get way ahead with too much out there, which means the value goes all the way down. So
we're talking about the Pokemon cards there, but like that Metroid one that we talked about, it's like the squishy Metroid amiibo. That's over $100, I think. It's like $130 for it. That unlocks that extra mode in Samus Returns.
And I didn't even use it, and I have it. Because it's sealed.
It's sealed. Yeah, I mean, you see why. I get it. So I think the one thing that was brought up, I think Sean brought it up in his video. He just showed up on the camera, red-eyed, raging. So, but
I like the video, by the way. It was great.
They hit him with the Super Nintendo games and that at the same time. So he
got double slap from Pokemon. Critical hit.
But I think the idea he brought up was I could understand is the principle of it, but also the concern about how much further do you think Nintendo could push the Amiibo functionality in a game? Like, what do you think the tipping point would go where everyone would be like, you know what?
There is no tipping point.
That might be it right there. You know, like, because we've talked about levels, right? A dungeon being behind one. We've talked about a mode being behind one.
I mean, I guess I don't know if there is a tipping point, but I would say the most egregious that they could potentially go, and they kind of already have flirted with this line, is if they made DLC that is exclusive to the Amiibo. But as OG mentioned with Shadows of Valentia, they kind of have done that. And if you're going to make this a limited supply item for, even if it's 6 months, a year, whatever, that's just bad business. You
know what? Just go ahead and make them digital.
This.
Digital Amiibos. You buy them, you download them, and you have them as like little trophies from Smash.
Those kind of exist in piracy because it's just that one type of pickup, and you can apparently program that type of stuff. People apparently do it all the time. They just get a little key for
I've seen that. Yeah, my friend has a thing. You like tune it, and then you scan it, and it's whatever Amiibo. Or the other thing I was thinking about was we sort of saw that with the what was it? Atlas, Battle for Atlas. Was it Starlink? Starlink, you could buy the physical pieces to put on your ship, or you could buy them all digitally. You could buy each of the pieces digitally. So I mean, those basically were digital Amiibos.
Yeah, essentially. I like to MVG's point. Is there a tipping point? No.
All right. So how about this? Remember back in the day in like Animal Crossing, you get those NES games. But if it got to the point where Amiibos unlock different NES and Super Nintendo games,
I'd be so
in
mad.
a game like Animal Crossing, I'm just like, that's just
they
an idea.
could.
It's like,
that could easily be done, and that's the thing, is that this is easy money for Nintendo of saying these are things we would have thrown in the game for free. Like this change with Skyward Sword, this could have been a change that would have been like, it's an in-menu change. Here you go. We want to make the experience better for you, give you more options. Instead they said, let's attach it to a $25 bird.
well, like, okay, so I just mentioned like a digital Amiibo, but like if they just, because I mean, I assume the functionality isn't making these Amiibos worthwhile. Like so what if they said, okay, we have this Amiibo, it's $25, or you can give us a couple bucks and you get the functionality digitally.
Well, see, at that point, then we have to call it what it is. It's not a digital Amiibo, it's a microtransaction.
That's true. Yeah. Well, but I mean, like that's like Ubisoft kind of business with their EXP booster. Then if we go down that route.
So my thought is that, like, clearly Nintendo does want us to get these, because I think most of us here have gotten a game from Nintendo mailed to you. They mail you the Amiibo with it usually, and that's my thought, is that clearly they intend for us to use the Amiibo functionality.
I don't get any of. Wait, what?
You didn't.
What are you talking about?
Have y'all not been okay? So whenever I when I was reviewing Wii U games, Nintendo would send me a disc, but without the box for some reason. They would just send me a disc in a case and a pile of Amiibos with it. So like Star Fox, I got a bunch of Star Fox.
Yeah,
well, in that case,
they don't do that anymore. They don't do.
Yeah.
You have to, like, sometimes what they do is that if you participate in some type of, like, sometimes I'll have like Smash Brothers thing. They sent me a Joker Amiibo and a Hero Amiibo, but I did like a live stream where we did like challenges or whatever. But for my review codes that I get, I never get an Amiibo.
I just mean that I still feel like they intend for us to use that functionality, and I guess that's what I don't like. Is I wish that it was all in-game stuff. I wish it was all in-game unlockables. Like maybe it's a cheat code style thing. Scan my Donkey Kong and it unlocks Big Head mode in GoldenEye digital. something like that.
Just to be sure, because it is a Discord question, we do think they're going to keep going forward with this, even past.
Amiibos, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, this type of use of Amiibos where it's
content.
content.
Like a functionality in the game rather than like a cosmetic.
Yeah.
Probably Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to continue it because this is going to sell, and they're going to say, "Look, people like this functionality." They're not going to have the user data that says no one's using this. They're going to see sales, and they're going to automatically assume that it's because people want that type of functionality, and that's the danger with this practice.
Well, Bowser's Fury, you could wake up Bowser any time with the Bowser Amiibo, and like that. I mean, that's kind of like there's convenience there, right? It saves time. So that's kind of like, again, similar to what we were seeing here.
So Captain Toad had something as well, I think, but it's been so long I can't remember.
I think the worst ones for me are more like the content type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you play Skyward Sword, trust me, you're gonna be like, it's a stupid functionality. I think it's been a long time. Many people haven't played it, but if you play, you'll see what I'm talking about when if you guys actually get a chance to chat that's watching, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll realize that this is stupid. I'll just keep it sealed and sell it later, or I just won't buy it at all. The worst is, like I said, Shadows of Valentia. I think Metroid is probably the most dangerous one because that's a difficulty mode. That's the most dangerous one. So
Metroid was a terrible one because you literally still to this day you cannot play that mode if you don't have the Amiibo. And that's unforgivable. That's something that the company should have been raked over the coals for.
I thought we were almost done with Amiibos there for a little while.
Same.
It felt like we were moving away from Amiibos, and it's kind of like
we largely are away from Amiibo. Outside of the Smash line, what else have we really had introduced? We've had a few Animal Crossing, and now we
Monster
have
Hunter one.
There was the woolly. Wasn't there like a rare Yoshi one that was squishy
Yoshi,
and cloth? Yeah.
Well, when Master Chief goes into Smash, we're gonna get a Master Chief Amiibo, right?
Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen. So no.
Look, I love Final Fantasy.
Unlock Game Pass on the Switch.
You need this Amiibo to get Game Pass. That'd be amazing.
See, if you got a $15 Master Chief and it gave you a year of Game Pass, at least you could say, "Hey."
No, it doesn't give you a year. It just unlocks Game Pass. You don't get it otherwise.
You still got to pay for the Game Pass, dude.
Either you get this Amiibo or you can't get Game Pass.
Get my Netflix Amiibo and scan it to watch Netflix.
I wonder if
what I noticed, real quick, John. You know what I noticed is that with the remakes, it seems like the remakes and the re-releases that's when they do something kind of weird. Samus Returns, Twilight Princess HD. Yeah. Now Skyward Sword. Breath of the Wild is pretty tame with its Amiibo use. It's not really. Yeah. It's pretty tame. Right. Nothing too crazy with that. Link's Awakening, that was a remake, but I'm not sure. There might be something in Link's Awakening. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember if that had Amiibo functionality.
I think it gave you health. I think it spawned a fairy, I think, but nothing like, you know.
But it seems like the bigger 3D Zelda games, it seems like that's, and like some of the remakes that they've done, those are the ones that kind of target some of this stuff. So yeah, I just hope it doesn't, to me, I hope it doesn't get to the Metroid one. That's the worst. I think Shadows of Valentia, if people bought it, that would also be the worst, but like people just didn't buy those two games. But Shadows of Valentia is bad because it's like a full this could be like paid DLC. It's like a full dungeon that you go through and you get some like dope items after you beat it, and it's hard. Got my ass
it's gonna be hard with the sales data though, because like you said, Nate, it's gonna sell out like anyway because they're not gonna produce like an incredible amount of them really. So it's even that it's like how do they even tell? Because people are gonna rush it obviously to then hold on to it and then have a valuable item down the road. So they'll keep trying until they get feedback from people online. Twitter likes to do that a lot, and so they can scroll Twitter and find all the feedback they want there.
Just because I checked it, because we said Link's Awakening. Apparently, the Link's Awakening amiibo lets you put a Shadow Link in the custom dungeon you can build.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So you get a Shadow Link. There you go.
All right, fair enough. Evan, do we have a Discord question we can go into from here?
Let's see. What is the technical practicality of a Switch revision/successor implementing a feature like Smart Resume?
Oh,
I like that.
I mean, well, right now, obviously, you can go into sleep mode and just leave your game on, and then you go in and you turn it right on. So if they could do that, that would be really cool if they could store like 2 or 3 games to where you can switch between them. Because then you have it in sleep mode, it wakes up, and then you just pick a game you want to go into, and it jumps in immediately. Yeah, that would just make the Switch even more usable in handheld mode or anything.
So quick resume is like save states and emulators. So the only real thing that they would need is enough space on the device to store those things, because that's why the Xbox Series S and X, even though it's like has so much hard drive space, you only get like 3/4 of it, because it has to allocate that room for the quick resume slots that it's going to need. So that's really the only real thing that it needs to get that feature.
So there's more like storage on board.
Why doesn't PS5 have it then?
Well, I mean, they could have it. It's just I guess they didn't really consider doing that when they built the system. And look, we've talked about this before. The PlayStation still has yet to implement some very important features. Whether they do a quick resume feature, I don't know. I hope they do, because it's very important that considering we've all played Returnal and experienced the issues with that. But I mean, the PlayStation still doesn't have an SSD slot that actually works. So there's so much more that they have to still get done.
we do need that slot activated.
Yeah, they still. And one of the amazing things with the Xbox's Resume Play is you can unplug the system.
Yep.
Plug it back in. A week later, and your save state still exists. And I mean, that's, when you really think of it, that's pretty crazy.
It's black magic.
It's like my favorite feature, especially with Mass Effect. I mean, it's I just save it, boom, hop off, get edit done, go back right to it. It's phenomenal. It's become like my favorite thing. Like with next gen systems, it's like, portability with Switch is great. PS5 with the DualSense is great, but quick resume is really good. And I think it's going to come clutch, like with some of these bigger games coming up. A lot of this stuff's coming up this summer, Scarlet Nexus, things like that. So,
Xbox is just way too fast. Like it's just really built well,
Yes.
Honestly, like
fast.
I probably, as much as I love both of the consoles, I've definitely been playing a lot more on my Xbox than anything because of those features.
It's impressive, yeah. Well, and especially it feels like it installs stuff faster. So I feel like when I'm in an ADD mood, because everything is so rapid on my Xbox, it's nice. I'm gonna play an old game. I'm gonna play a new game.
So we think over the summer we're gonna get that NVMe slot for the PS5, right? That's what they were saying.
I think so. I mean,
I think those things are kind of expensive to purchase.
Well, that's the thing. If you're looking to save on any kind of SSD or NVMe, you're going to want to use Honey as the sponsors for tonight's video. Nice podcast, because we all shop online, of course, right, Max?
Yeah. I've been trying to get into fitness, using a bunch of SpawnWave's actually been telling me tips and stuff, and I've been using Honey constantly to just buy. Supplements are expensive, so any coupon code helps.
Kinds of protein powder over there, because we've all seen that promo code field at the bottom of checkout, right? But thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. And Honey supports over 30,000 stores online. So you've been buying a lot of protein powder, Max, all kinds of supplements and stuff, trying to grow 3 or 4 arms. Yep.
Gotta do it. Yes, an extra arm is what I want for my coupon code.
Okay, well, when you check out, the Honey button drops down, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site, and if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the price drops in real time right there. Protein powder just drops in price immediately. So make sure, of course, you're checking out. We have the link down below in the description. You can get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/SpawnCast. That's once again, joinhoney.com/SpawnCast. I'd never recommend something I don't use, and by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds. Thanks once again to Honey. Evan, we have some Discord questions over there.
Yeah. How have you been able to still enjoy video games and not become jaded since you since we focus on that? So I guess people who like review tons of games.
This is an interesting question, because this happened at like the game store. I remember this because we would see games all the time, work at a game store, and there'd be times where it's like, do I want to go home and see more video games? I've been looking at them for 12 hours today. So that was a thing then. But I gotta be honest, doing it on like YouTube and stuff, I don't have that same feeling. Maybe it's because I related like games then to like stickering and putting them away and unruly customers at times, whereas now I'm like, let's play some games and we'll make some videos about it. I don't know. I haven't got to that point.
I mean, to me, in a weird way, because I beat so many games, I pretty much beat an entire giant game every single week. And I almost feel like it's more exciting now because it's like, oh, I have to edit this and record it and write scripts and stuff. To me, it doesn't create burnout. Even playing bad games, even having to really delve into the total dumpster fires. I don't know. In a way, even though it's a job, it just stays exciting and fun. I don't think I think the only time I've ever been exhausted is a couple years ago. There was that October where like 7 giant games released and I didn't sleep. That's the only time where I a little bit burned out.
Well, shout outs to Max, because I can't do that ish that you do, bro. Like I can't, like I want to play at my own pace, like the deadline. So I mean, congrats that you still have the passion for that, because I couldn't do it, dude.
Dude, I love deadlines. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but I legit love getting an embargo and being like, all right, I got to beat this game and do some side quests and have it. I don't know. That to me makes it even more fun.
You crazy, Max. I respect it.
I know. I'm broken.
I respect it, man. I reviewed Final Fantasy VII Remake and Last of Us Part 2. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm good. I'll never review another game again.
We have another Discord question, Evan. I'll go to Super Chat soon.
Apparently, the American McGee title is trying to crowdfund something called Alice Asylum. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the American McGee's Alice game.
Yeah.
Thoughts on
absolutely.
them going that route, and would you fund it?
Is American McGee actually involved in it?
That's what the question says. I'd have to look into it further. I can double check.
I would tentatively put money in. Depends on you know what it actually is. Yep. Because I do like American McGee games. I do like Alice.
I do. Alice. I don't know. I feel like I've seen so many bad Kickstarters the last like 5 years. I don't know. I'm at a point now where I'll buy the game once it's out, but I feel like I just don't support Kickstarters anymore.
Yeah, it's American. It's American McGee. He's doing it.
Yeah, after
when the game comes out. Oh, you said what? What'd you say, FPG?
I said after the wonderful 101.
Dude, I paid $300 for Shenmue 3, and that fucking plot went nowhere. I'm still butthurt.
Hey man, there's 3 more games coming.
3 more games.
This is my ultimate collector's edition up here, and I hate it. Well, my brother came into town and he saw it. He goes, "There's a Shenmue 3? Like nobody even knows this exists."
3 more games.
Done. I think for me it was a Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, the Switch version. So disappointed. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna wait till they come out. I'm not gonna fund these games just when they come out, because you know they're gonna get funded. Yeah. So when they come out, I'll buy it then. I'll decide if I want to buy it then. You know?
I just don't fund any games on Kickstarter because there is the chance that I will cover it, and I don't want that conflict. So that's how I approach that. And since someone did message, they sent me this on Twitter. But Demon's Souls on the PlayStation 5, I guess the Deluxe Digital Edition, locked the Red-Eye Knight armor, the Royalty armor, and the Ritual Blade behind the Digital Deluxe, and that's a crappy practice. Sony shouldn't have done that. That's a shit practice, especially if you cannot unlock that equipment in the game itself through natural progression. That type of practice should not be allowed.
Wait, hold on. Did the Digital Deluxe come with an Amiibo?
No. So you didn't even get a shitty piece of plastic knight.
They're messing up.
You get a full knight.
But that's a bad practice even on Sony's part, because as far as I can tell, looking on the PlayStation Store, you can't buy these if, otherwise you have to get the deluxe edition. So that's a bad practice. Companies should not be doing this. Make everything accessible through natural progression, or, a digital deluxe version is really just a way of saying, we want extra money. You want these extra items. Let's charge $20 above sticker price and make you feel like you're getting something. Don't reward those business practices. They are purely exploitive. So.
PSN. What was the name of it? PSN. I'm gonna buy it right now. Actually, don't mind me.
Wait till next week. Demon's Souls goes on sale.
Oh, I'm gonna buy it then. Hell yeah! No,
oh yeah.
That's good. That's good. Let's talk about TimeSplitters first, and then we'll go to super chats before Square at E3, because TimeSplitters is coming back. It's back. Well, it's not back yet, but it's coming back. Eventually. I mean, people have been trying to revive TimeSplitters for so long, since 2005 when we had Future Perfect. Future Perfect is still good, by the way. It's a shame that it came out at the end of the PS2 life rather than like the earlier part of like the 360 and stuff, because then it probably would have ran a bit better, but it also may have even been picked up to work on the Series X for all we know. But it's an original Xbox game that who knows, maybe they'll go back and play around with. But it's been a while, and Deep Silver posted up. This was almost at 1 a.m. by the way. What's their time zone?
It was UK time, so I think it was
it was first thing in the morning.
Okay. Because this is from Deep Silver, Free Radical Design, a new Deep Silver studio. So they are reforming the old studio, and they brought in some of the veteran developers around TimeSplitters as well. They said, you asked and we listened. We have been working on plans to bring the TimeSplitters franchise back to life and are pleased to let you know that we are setting up a new Deep Silver development studio to do just that. Free Radical Design is reforming and will be headed up by industry and TimeSplitters veterans.
Dr. Doke is back.
This is exciting stuff, but they haven't even started development on it yet.
No, and they don't begin for another couple of months. They're going to put out a hiring campaign in another few weeks on their website. So this is a game that's not going to actually enter development until late this year. So we have a solid 4, 5, maybe 6 years until this game releases.
So I put out a poll on the community tab for a channel because I was curious to see how many people have played TimeSplitters. There were quite a few votes on it. I can actually pull it up here, and it's expected, but it's also kind of alarming. There's 61,000 votes, and 70% said that they've never tried them. They've never played a TimeSplitters game. Never. So I think if it's going to be, what do we think, at 3 years minimum to get this thing done, 4 years maybe. I mean, this is Embracer Group, right? That's at the top of all of this. They have like a ridiculous amount of studios, and they obviously show the ability to at least remaster a game, even if it's bare minimum. Sometimes they seem to be able to do it across all these different platforms. Go back and get one of the older TimeSplitters and just move it up. Just do a remaster of it.
Yeah.
And see, get people introduced back to it, because you could put it out as a $15 or $20 purchase.
I recently replayed all of them, and I would say if they do that, to only do it to Future Perfect, because
that's the one I would do.
Man, the first two games, not as much, So
I would absolutely grab Future Perfect right away. That's probably the one that they I assume would do. Maybe they do TimeSplitters 2, but I feel like Future Perfect, because it doesn't have a 2 next to it. It's not like, did I miss the first one or something? And it's not just TimeSplitters 1, which is a good game for its time, but like, I don't know how gracefully it would have aged for now. Yeah, Future Perfect, I think, is the one.
Look at that cover art. You can't even tell what the hell this is about.
We think, hold on, wait. We got MVG here. MVG can do it. He can get Future Perfect up.
Yeah, I'm available. Deep Silver, hit me up.
What do you think? What do you think about this, MVG? Were you excited to see TimeSplitters come back?
Yes, I was. I am very excited about it. I mean, look, expectations in check and everything, because yes, this is their intent, right? This is not them saying, hey, it's coming out anytime soon. So they got to put the team together. They got to get that. As far as I know, they don't even have a studio yet, so they got to get some office space, and they got to build the team, and so there's obviously a long road ahead of them. I would expect this to drop at some point mid-generation on these current gen consoles, so it's going to be a while, but I do think that it's a very exciting announcement, and I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of people do want to see TimeSplitters come back, and it was a shame how kind of the series just stopped. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a TimeSplitters 4 that was in development for the 360 and the PS3 that ultimately ended up getting cancelled. Yep. I don't remember why it got cancelled. So,
TimeSplitters 4, right? Isn't that what it's like code name?
TimeSplitters 4, yeah. So it's really cool that they're coming back with this. Steve Ellison and David Doak are on board. Maybe they can get Graham Norgate, who did the music for the games, which the music in those games is like amazing. So, awesome. If they can get the band back together, if you will, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But I'm excited. I think it's a really cool announcement for sure.
I mean, 2005 was 16 years ago. So like, I saw someone just now pop up with a super chat, so I might have been too young. Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. People cycle in, obviously, into gaming as they get old enough to pick up a controller and start playing. So TimeSplitters, it hasn't been around for a long time. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people. It's gonna be first time. That's why I feel like they might not get a collection, but like just a remaster. Grab one of the TimeSplitters, bring it up. Just do that.
Well, I have a theory that that there's a huge chunk gaming as it becomes more and more mainstream. I feel like 80% of gamers that are the major consumers now started gaming in the last 10 years. So I feel like to these people, it's an all new project. If you put a low enough price tag and it sounds cool enough and boomers are talking about it, they're probably going to buy it. And to them, it's new. So yeah, package future perfect. People will still, that game is still funny. That's what kind of shocked me is I feel like playing old games with jokes age the worst. It is still so funny. That game really works.
The other thing about Future Perfect is it's expensive now. Like if you look at buying it on the GameCube or the PS2 or even on the Xbox OG, it's up there in price. So,
that one cost me some money on the GameCube. I'll tell you that. It wasn't a cheap purchase to get. But like even if Microsoft was like, "Hey, it's backwards compatible now," it's up on the shop. You can go pick it up too because you can get it digitally then, and that would make it. I think they sell those at like what $10, like digitally for these when they do it. Yeah, why not? Put that up there and at least do it that way. But otherwise, I would definitely buy a physical copy of Future Perfect if they remaster that thing. Absolutely. That'd be really. Nate, you seemed excited about this.
Yeah, I enjoyed the TimeSplitters game, and I was actually just reading up why TimeSplitters 4 was canceled, and we get to assign the blame to the amazing PlayStation 3 exclusive known as Haze. That was so subpar and forgettable that publishers didn't want to give Free Radical a chance of making TimeSplitters 4 because
it was all Haze's fault. You know what?
Yeah.
Did they really blame Haze? Because no way.
Yep. Haze was a big reason they didn't want to take the gamble of doing a TimeSplitters 4 because Haze was so mediocre.
Haze has nothing to do with TimeSplitters.
Crytek, I think Crytek bought Free Radical, right?
Yes.
They bought them, and then who you call it came in, basically Embracer Group, essentially Deep Silver, came in and bought the TimeSplitters IP from Crytek. Crytek is having issues with like payroll and basically just surviving, so they had to start liquidating IPs, and that's where it ended up. But it's interesting to see how this has bounced around and now ended up with Embracer Group, Deep Silver, and reforming, bringing everyone back, or most people back, I would say.
Yeah, hopefully they do allocate the appropriate budget to really let Doak and the team create the product of their vision.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting? You say that, Nate. There's a game that's coming out this week, and technically it's from it's Embracer Group, THQ Nordic, and all of that. It's Biomutant. Can't talk about it yet, but
plenty of controversy around it this week, though.
That's because it's like PS5 1080p. Hey, if Sony's backwards compatibility was like how Microsoft's is, then it probably wouldn't be an issue. But it's the way you said that, where it's like, I hope they give them the budget. Biomutant was delayed a couple of times, and it's like 20 people working on it, but they seem to give them the time to do it. And I mean, I think people would be surprised by the game this week when it releases.
Yeah, and I would even take that further, Nate, and suggest, and I don't know this, but I would suggest that if David Doak, Steve Ellis, and the gang is getting back together to do this, and they were given a fairly substantial bag to do it, I don't think they would step in with a shoestring budget, because I mean they're just setting themselves up for failure at that point.
Right.
They've been around. They've been around long enough to know what is.
What do they do with TimeSplitters though? In, let's say, 2024.
That's the big question: is how do you really approach a modern TimeSplitters? Because what the games were, I don't know if you could recreate that today.
It's mostly you're playing a character that travels around through time, but it's mostly just different stages, and it's set up sort of like an arena shooter similar to Doom, right? Painkiller.
It's like
Painkiller was just newer TimeSplitters.
It was basically like everyone who played GoldenEye on the N64 Perfect Dark, when the PS2 came out and that was all the talk and everything, TimeSplitters was the game everyone was playing then.
They even reused a lot of the sound effects.
There have been other games that have come out that have done similar things where it's just different themes, I guess, for levels where you're fighting different types of enemies that do different things with different weapons. There have been a lot of them. It's just they haven't really been noticed, because I don't know if that genre is that big, and I don't know if the name TimeSplitters is going to carry it anyway.
Oh, somebody said in the chat, what if they make it a free-to-play game?
No
on cell phones with
ban that person in
No,
chat.
Evan, don't wish this for the
I mean, a lot of these companies are going towards free-to-play models, and maybe Embracer's like, hey, let's get our own free-to-play game. Let's make it just like these flashy Fortnite type games.
No, let's not be
Yeah, the opposite
excited
of
about
that.
the return of Time Splitters, and now we're going down this dark alley of potential bad business decisions.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
how do we ruin it?
We're fast traveling with Amiibos. We're getting a free to play Time Splitters game. Is all over the place.
Dear God. And we still have to talk about the Final Fantasy game.
Oh no! And you thought you were getting the whole Final Fantasy VII remake at once. Gosh, I'm looking forward to it though. It's going to be a while, so hopefully they have something cool in mind to tide everyone over rather than a trailer at every E3 for the next 4 years. We'll see there. Evan, we have any Discord questions left, and I'll go ahead and pull up the super chats.
Let's see. If Tom Cruise really is in Starfield, do you think the game will be cyberpunked?
Oh my gosh, I saw that pop up that Tom Cruise is in Starfield. Gosh.
I like that what was his terrible movie where Earth was like killer or whatever the hell? Everybody's using that picture where he's in the white suit with a machine gun. I don't know.
Oblivion is not a bad movie.
Great movie.
Oblivion is fantastic.
Why would they put Tom Cruise in Starfield?
I hate it because this like shock celebrity stuff, because that's what it always is to me. Is I feel like the performances are never, that super standout. Like what was the Game of Thrones guy in Destiny, and he just sounds bored the whole time and stuff. I don't know. I feel like these are just.
What about Keanu Reeves? What about?
You know what? I said this in my video. I didn't like him in Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
and
it didn't feel good when I played. I was like, this is weird. Why am I here?
He was just such a jerk, and he plays a jerk so well that I was like, man, I hate this guy. I'm tired of watching him punch everybody.
Sounds like he did his job.
I love how no one even knows what Starfield is, right? And
no one knows what it is.
We're talking about Tom Cruise in the game all of a sudden.
This Starfield stuff is getting out of control, isn't it?
I wonder if he is in the game. Are they going to position him to make him look taller than the other characters?
Sure. He's giant.
It's just a lot of like shots from like down by the ground.
Hey guys, choose all the dialogue options right here. I'm sorry, I'm so tall, I can't be in the whole frame. Yeah,
they're going to position him so it makes it so he's not tiny.
It's in his contract. I want my character to be 6'6", and every other character scales up to 6 foot.
There's a lot of talk around a game where we just have the Metroid Prime 4 logo right now. So I can't believe the conversation is. I mean, it's probably just because like if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda and ZeniMax, I don't think there'd be as much talk around Starfield at all. Because most of it's been, is it going to be just on the Xbox or is it going to be on the PlayStation as well?
No, there'd be talk. Because like Fallout got that type of hype. Fallout 4 got that type of hype. I think there'd still be hella talk about the game. It's a Bethesda big. Well, no, Fallout's that's not a new IP though. But still, you don't think there'd be like super hype around like these?
I don't think there'd be as much fighting online.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah.
Like I mean, we're to the point now where people are trying to like figure out its release date, and we're like, can we see an in-game like screenshot of it, like officially from them, or anything other than the PNG file that they turned into like a video file? Like, it's just like you need more about this game, which I mean, we're gonna get. We all assume in like 3 weeks, so we're just getting close to that time. But why would we don't really? I don't think you really need actors like that kind of budget anymore in these games to make them sell.
Do you remember fucking Beyond Two Souls with William Dafoe and Ellen Page in there? That was so bizarre.
I mean, if we were going off of like bringing in celebrities and actors and stuff to sell a game, Death Stranding would be GTA 5 right now.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. I think this is just the thing now is that as video games become more mainstream, and honestly, I think a lot of Hollywood people are kind of sitting around bored right now. They're probably working for cheap. It's like, let's get Cruz in a sound booth. Let's scan that man's face.
I mean, the Death Stranding like trailer was like 40 seconds longer than it needed to be because they had to tell us everyone's name as it went through, and like they cut the black character's name, cut the black actor, the actor's all. It's like,
so his name was Deathman or something, right? In that
game. Sony had to look at that and be like, why are all these people in this game? What are we paying for? It's great. Let's go to some of the super chats here. This is from the Xbot Murderer. The Xbot Murder. Shouldn't it be Xbot Murderer? It just says the Xbox Murder.
Who knows?
Like it's like an event.
It does. It's a ritual killing of the Xbox.
Sony has another Final Fantasy exclusive. Sony won. Sorry, Nate. So that's part of the super chat. Sorry, Nate.
What?
You have a PS5 though, so you can play it.
Yeah, this is really weird console fanboying from a guy called Xbox Murder. Go watch a hot tub stream.
Damn, whoa.
Speaking of,
who's to say he isn't on another screen?
Speaking
you know
of
this
which,
dude has those hot tub streams on log because he ain't getting no date. I'll tell you that right now. How would that name?
and Andrew says RGT and John hot tub story time stream when. So there you go.
A million.
Twitch is an interesting place. Symphonic Balance says, I just noticed today my PS5 has been taking 15-second clips every time a trophy is earned. That doesn't help the storage issue. Yeah, it records every time you unlock a trophy, it records you. That's why you had that really funny recording online of the person screaming and jumping in their room because they beat one of the bosses in Demon Souls. Anytime you can turn it off. Like you can turn that off in the options, but
yeah, definitely should do that just to help reduce the file size.
Yeah. Then we have Tijo says, I'm excited for the Scarlet Nexus demo going in blind. And I can't wait to play it on the 28th. I hate that it's Xbox only, but I wish Bandai Namco made that demo Windows 10 compatible in the meantime. They're going to release it on other platforms, I assume. It's like first to
28th it hits PlayStation.
There you go.
I'm not.
Was that the way longer?
I'm not defending Bandai Namco's decision on that, but for that type of game, you take whatever money you can get.
Yeah, Microsoft gave them some money for that, and so
you take anything. The fact that they even got anything for that type of game, because it's not the type of game that's going to sell crazy numbers. You take whatever you can get. So if they hand you 10 million for that, you take the 10 million and just.
And it's a hell of a lot better than you can play Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village for 1 hour in these designated 3-hour slots. Once.
Well, I was thinking of remember the Resident or the Devil May Cry 5 demo that was first on Xbox, but was like 9 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. This is from Sean saying, will OJ be on the SpawnCast tonight? Also, OMG Mass Effect is great. How have I managed to not play these until now? Wow. Gotta be honest, a little envious you being able to experience Mass Effect for the first time right now in 2021 with this remastered trilogy that they put out. That's good stuff there. And
super quick, if y'all love the Mass Effect games because Andromeda sucks, read the books. They're all canon. They're by the same writer. They have the same characters and they take place before and after. They're fantastic Mass Effect books.
And this was a $5 donation. OJ asked if you're on SpawnCast.
I'm here.
Okay, there we go. Jeffrey says, worse fan base delusional Metroid fans who think the series is more popular than it is, or middle-aged Paper Mario fans who think the series should go back to baby's first JRPG.
Yikes.
Sounds like someone's insecure in their own video game.
Yeah, right. It's like no comment. My God.
I think he's joking. I think he's mainly just
he's
joking.
trolling.
Yeah, he's trolling. He's joking. But I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. They both can.
Hey, Metroid fans have a chance to show up though if that 2D Metroid game comes out this year. So there you go.
Huh?
They have a chance to show up to it. Mr. Job says, I second the RGT and Spawnwave hot tub storytime stream. Sean and I are talking about doing a gaming channel where he just tells me about the old days at Sonic while I play through games. So I don't know if we need to get a hot tub involved with that. Katana Riku says, I sure hope OJ is here. This is $1.99.
We'll never know.
Katana comes to my stream. He's a mod on my stream. Just Katana, go do some push-ups or something, bro.
Jalen says, kind of weird that Nintendo couldn't put a special item in the game to let you fly anywhere. Then people wouldn't be so mad about it. Tariq says, what is with the lack of horror dino games? I guess like dinosaur games. Like scary dinosaur games.
Second Evolution kind of does it. I mean, it's not that well, but yeah. I've always thought about that. I read a thing. It's that dinosaurs are so strong that they don't manage to make you feel weak. You feel weak if you're fighting a bunch of zombies or ghosts because they have magical abilities to them. But dinosaurs, since they're just a natural being, they have to give you shotguns and rocket launchers to fight back. So you're so strong, you're not properly scared of them.
I do think we'll get eventually an incredible like Jurassic Park based horror game where like you're stuck in the park and it's a survival.
That would be
game.
cool.
You're not necessarily like trying to kill the dinosaurs, but they're hunting you. And
they could do some stuff to really terrify you. Like they could like drop you in like a big pool of water at some point and have dinosaurs like the big dinosaurs that like swim around and stuff. Like they do some really cool stuff. I bet.
I mean, I think if you did that direction, you could do it because you could just make it at night, give you a shotgun, but only put the light on the front of it and stuff like that. That would do it really well. Put it in the jungle and stuff. That could definitely.
That'd be cool. Do a lot of script events.
There's like no music, and you can hear rumblings of dinosaurs in the background.
They're weird, like.
So you're thinking like Resident Evil, like Resident Evil Village kind of thing, mixed with Jurassic Park.
Mixed with that, kind of like Alien Isolation, but you're also just on the run. It's not just like hiding when the alien comes by. It's like running from the dinosaur. Or you hotwire a Jeep to outrun the T-Rex, or stuff like that.
Could we use this as like the reboot of a possible Turok?
Sure.
Spooky Turok.
Yeah, because I would buy that game. That would be cool.
You've sold me on it. Go. Kickstart that. Make it exist.
I have a lot of good ideas for Jurassic Park video games. Universal needs to hire.
Well, luckily there's a game coming out in a couple of weeks where you can make your own video games on the Nintendo Switch.
I don't think I'm making that in that game.
You might be able to.
I'm sure it'll come out great.
Carlos says, without the 3DS, will Nintendo create a series of $40 first party AA titles on the Switch? AAA titles take so long to develop. Oh, like smaller games that don't take as long to play out.
Well, they already do that, right? It's varying prices. It's not always 40. Sometimes Miitopia, they'll charge 50. Snipper Clips, what was that, 20? They'll have Sushi Striker 50. Sometimes the Garage Builder.
Sushi Striker should not have been 50 when that came out.
But that Garage Builder game looks more in depth than Sushi Striker, and that's 30.
Yeah, it's 30. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So they'll just have varying levels of smaller games for just varying different prices. I don't think they'll ever be like, this is $40 for this. I don't think they'll do that.
Prices are moving up apparently too as we go along. So that 50 is technically the new 40. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. But this is from who calls down here? Sean. Andrew asked best Kanye album.
The one with the bear on it. What's the bear one?
My favorite's Graduation, but I know a lot of people like Dark Twisted Fantasy a lot.
Okay, we'll ask Sean about that next week too. Agent Redbeard says, just celebrated my 3-year sober anniversary yesterday. You all have no idea how much the podcast has helped me on my journey. Keep on moving. All hugs.
Dude, hell yeah. Congrats to you, dude. That's seriously. Yeah, man, hell yeah.
Good stuff. Pixelated Pigeon says, stuck on an island with a generator, TV, one console, and one game. What is everyone's game? Love you all from the UK.
Skies of Arcadia on Dreamcast. Not joking.
Okay. The one game. Mario Strikers.
Super Metroid.
Okay. Super Metroid, that's a good one. I'll play Mario Strikers all day.
Do I have internet?
It just says generator, TV, one console, and one game.
I'll probably still pick Smash Ultimate. There's just so much crap in that game.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, so I can call for help. Like, help me. These are my coordinates.
I'll just take the Mass Effect trilogy here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'll do it.
Yeah, you can play that. Shoot, you can play that legitimately 6 times each with each game, so 18 times.
Oh wow, yeah. Riku Key 2 says, I got 2 Skyloft Amiibos, 2 Skyward Sword themed Joy-Cons, and a steel case. Yeah, I'm a big Zelda fan consumer.
My God.
This is from David saying, new episode of Behind the Wave when? I haven't really thought about that as much. I don't know. We could do one at some point.
Yeah, we never really have time to just random record stuff.
Not this past year.
No.
do a weightlifting episode. I'd watch that.
That's not a bad idea. What I wouldn't mind doing is whenever we go to a convention, maybe get some recording done there. So like Too Many Games is October. So if that goes down, there you go. I might get a camera to follow around and stuff.
We got to hit the gym together. I'm going to try and do whatever you do. Much lighter because I'm a little bitch, but I want to try and do everything that you do.
we can go to the gym. That'd be fun. Luxian says, Knockout City is so nice, I decided to give its deluxe to get its deluxe edition. I could see myself putting a few hundred hours into it. I had fun with Knockout City so far. I played it today for a bit, and it's actually not bad. It's an interesting concept. Problem is there's not a lot of content to it right now, but this is going to be, I guess, one of those multiplayer ongoing games. But it is free right now for the first week for all consoles. So you can just download it and try it. And if you have Game Pass, it went into EA Play, which means it's in Game Pass. So you just completely. So you don't have to buy it then either. Dark Type says, which would you say is a better trilogy of games to get into for someone who hasn't played a bunch of shooters, Bioshock or Mass Effect?
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, but also to call Mass Effect a shooter doesn't feel accurate.
Bioshock 1 though was really good.
I mean, I like Bioshock 1, 2, and 3 for very different reasons. Obviously, I have Bioshock tattoos, but even I gotta say Mass Effect.
Bioshock's I like Infinite the most. I love Infinite. I think it's phenomenal, but Mass Effect just gives you that feeling, that transferring over the data. It gives you a separate feeling that you just don't get.
Well, the main differences between them is if he said he was looking for a shooter, because Bioshock is just a shooter, like at that point, but Mass Effect is almost like a min-max game with a little RPG elements and shooting. So like it depends on what I guess you're looking for.
I mean, a lot of depth. Mass Effect, a lot of depth. Yeah.
After I'm almost done with 2 again here, but after replaying it this time and seeing everything again and how great they've done, like this is the best deal in gaming right now, and to put it up against anything else, I think anything else is going to lose, because the second game so far, and most likely the third game as well when I get to that, it's like a brand new current gen, next gen title. Like the first Mass Effect looks like a last gen title, and that's great because they did a great job with it, but 2 is destroys any new game that has come out so far, and it's incredible. So
this is from Bring Back saying, dollars in the pockets. Super Mario RPG HD Remastered is a sleeper hit of E3, not disclosing the year. Love what you all do. Keep up the good work. Super Mario RPG HD Remastered.
Dollars in your pockets.
That'd be a pretty good announcement. Johnny says, what was the worst opinion you had about a game?
Years ago, I made a big video, and it still exists somewhere with like 3 views on it, but it was basically a big thing about why I hate the Wii, and I thought the Wii was the worst console, and I said that it had no good games other than like first-party Nintendo, and people roasted the shit out of me, and I spent about a year educating myself and playing stuff like Cave Story, or what is it, Brave Story, and playing Xenoblade. I'd never played Xenoblade before that and stuff. And really opened my eyes. And I realized, man, what an ignorant take I had.
What was the worst opinion you had about a game? Well, we know Nate, obviously. Right, Nate?
How's that a bad opinion? Sunshine sucks.
Yeah, you see, you knew I was talking about Sunshine. I
think there's a certain game franchise that I have a very strong opinion about.
Are you drinking that Sonic G Fuel? That Sonic G Fuel is delicious.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
You love Sonic.
Don't let him G Fuel,
right?
That's what in chat said. RGT hyping Balan Wonderworld.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's good.
Or no, Sean when he got mad at CTR, Crash Team Racing.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite one. He still reminds me of it occasionally. He's like, CTR video. Yep. Michael says 4 Walmarts, 1 Target, 1 Best Buy in my town all have at least 10 copies of Super Mario 3D All-Stars at each store.
It's illegal.
I don't see any of mine anymore. They're just gone. So I mean, that's good.
Amazon has it and my Walmart has it. But yeah, you'll see some. They shipped a lot of them. They made like a bazillion copies. So you'll see them for a bit, but after a while, like after a couple of years, they'll probably all dry up.
Pixelated Pigeon says, MVG, do you think it's viable for someone to start learning coding later in life and actually have a chance of breaking into the game industry? Asking for my uncle who wants to work for Nintendo.
Yes, absolutely.
You say now. I mean, now, especially obviously with the internet access compared to, a long time ago, but all the tools and YouTube, this is probably the best time to take a shot at it if you're going to.
You can make a calculator application and submit it to Nintendo, and they'll approve it.
I heard Xylophone's coming out.
There you go.
See, all right. I mean, we have the Game Builder Garage. Yep. Honestly, that's why if people are thinking about that, I'd pick that up and just play around with it and see if it's something you're interested in. Right there, that's a good start. Probably a good way to start and see what you think.
Yep.
Xavier says, "Is Marvel vs. Capcom a dead franchise?"
No.
No. You think it'll come back?
Yes.
After Infinite, though, man, that was a blow.
That's not the real.
It'll come back.
No, that's not the real. Trust me, it'll be back.
Anything with Infinite in the title.
It'll be back in 3 weeks.
I don't know. You can ask. I just know that it will definitely be back, and they will learn their lesson. Capcom has learned their lesson.
I mean, at this point, I'd even be happy with a port of 2. Like, there's an arcade near my house, one of those barcades where you just like drink beer and play free arcade games. They got a perfect arcade cabinet of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. God, I wish that game would come back.
Yeah, to be honest though, Infinite with mods and everything on PC is actually pretty good. I watch Max play it all the time, and it's not bad. So you might want to check it out there if you want a good Marvel vs. Capcom, because it's not bad on there. It's really not. It's just the console versions necessarily weren't great. Obviously, the models,
just took the community to fix it. It's like a Skyrim game.
The community needed to fix the game. The models were Chun-Li's hands were like well, hands for some reason.
I saw how people were posting the fact that Chun-Li's face was like a mask. It didn't have proper texturing. It looked like they just stretched somebody else's face over her head model.
Yeah,
like,
no X-Men. I mean, it was rough, but the PC community did fix it, and it's actually pretty good on there. So you can check it out there.
This is from Blue Knight saying there are rumors of a new virtual console for Switch like Game Pass, but with an option to purchase games. Does the SpawnCast think it's for real?
No.
This rumor has been going around since like last October, and some of it was it was going to be announced in March, and nothing came of it. It just seems like it's one of those wish lists that people hope the virtual console or the Nintendo Switch Online will become, and no one can say with 100% definitive proof or backing that this will never happen. It makes sense from a business standpoint of Nintendo being able to say, we charge you $20 a year. Let's see if you're foolish enough to double dip on the games we've already offered you, and you'll spend another $5 on them. From a business standpoint, yeah, it makes sense for them. But right now, this rumor really seems to be groundless, and there's really no substantiating evidence to support it. But yes, it could happen.
I'm just curious how far they're going to take this thing, because if they have over 100 some odd games attached to the $20 bill, even they are gonna look at that and be like, well, hold on, this is getting a little much here, but we got to keep adding because we said we were going to keep adding.
It depends on how valuable they see these games as individual releases. And
Baseball Simulator 1000 though.
Hey, Joe and Mac, it's a great game. Magic Drop 2. These are quality games, despite what Sean says in his video. Sean doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Damn, not even.
It really depends on just how Nintendo sees these games and what their value is to the consumer. And I've said this numerous times on the show. And when Nintendo looked at the virtual console sales on the Wii U, they were virtually non-existent. The majority of games did not sell. And I would not be surprised if they have data to suggest the vast majority of people with their Switch aren't going to the NES and Super NES applications to even play these games. So they may not be all that much incentivized to make these games available for individual purchase, because they're seeing that you're not even playing them. So why are we going to sell them?
This is for
that's what a business looks at.
This is for MVG from G Million. I'm trying to install RetroArch on my Series S, but the remote access doesn't work. What should I do?
Well, I don't know, but what I would suggest is just look at a tutorial video. There's a bunch of them out there on YouTube, so you'll find one.
If the remote access, I assume that's from the PC.
The website, yeah.
Trying to send the file over to do it. Yeah, there's probably a step that was missed or something with the network connection, I would assume.
Yep.
Okay. This one's from Tijo. You talk about worldwide releases and Falcom. I should remind you that Trails fans in the West are still waiting on basically all of them, while Falcom is making an all-new game. Zero, Al, Hajimari, and so on. Yeah, those. The problem with the Trails games is, as OJ said with some of those other ones, the script for the Trails games are ridiculous. There is so much text in these different Trails games.
And I'll also add that when you try to speed things up, it can create error. Remember Ease 8?
Yeah,
they botched the conversion of it. They were trying to get it out as fast, and they botched it. Falcom is not a huge, multi-billion-dollar. They're not the Pokemon company that can translate everything super quick. They're just not. They're small, 40-person team.
There was a good video on YouTube that went over that. That went over everything that happened with the Trail series, and at one point they mentioned how long the script was. I think it was for the second one. and it was like it was so long, it was ridiculous. So
you gotta get the voice actors, and then COVID also complicates things because they're not going into actual places, they're doing from home. They got to get their homes ready for. I mean, that's why Persona 5 Strikers was delayed nearly a year because of that, because of that stuff.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the Western release of the game.
This one's from Chris. Great iCarly insight, Jordan.
Oh, thank you for watching the video.
Welcome back, Max and MVG. Any chance for either a Nintendo 64 Mini or a Dreamcast Mini announced at this year's E3? No, because that'd make me happy. So that won't happen.
I heard rumors about a Dreamcast Mini from a very good source about 2 years ago. And what I heard basically is that Sega, of course, wants it. Who knows if they can make it? So, I mean, who knows if it'll ever show up? But at least Sega themselves definitely shares our hype. They want to sell it as much as we want to buy it.
Well, the good news is technology is caught up to it. MVG could probably even say that.
I think there is a half chance that a Dreamcast Mini does exist. I don't know if we'll see one at E3. I doubt it. But I do think that there's got to be one in a R&D lab somewhere, right, that they're messing around with. N64 Mini, zero chance.
I'd say that the Dreamcast Mini, I don't think the hardware is necessarily the issue for them right now to get working, because like we see Raspberry Pis now doing it, and those are like pretty inexpensive boards overall, and they can source the parts even cheaper than that. So it probably comes down to the game selection, maybe some licensing here and there. I mean, if you look at like Crazy Taxi, there's like a whole like soundtrack in there that they'd probably have to look into, for example. So there's probably a lot of things that go into it outside of what we're all thinking, where it's like, oh, these are the games I'd put on there. I'd put this, you go with this processor and stuff, and we could ship it, right? And they're like, well, we got to talk to lawyers about some of these things to get it all, worked out. So I feel like there's a whole thing going on in the background, even if they wanted to do it. I mean, can they really omit Crazy Taxi from a Dreamcast Mini?
Yeah, right. And that whole soundtrack, that whole soundtrack is super licensed songs. So that'd be complicated. And then also some of the games that are, I think, looked back the most fondly, like Phantasy Star Online. How would you even put that? Like, do you either omit it or does it have to have online? How do they do it? Yeah.
Sega did recently come out and say that they're thinking about, or they're interested in revitalizing some of their dormant IP. So maybe the Dreamcast Mini is the way to do that.
That might be a good way to do it. Yeah. See, I mean, that'd be hype if they announced that. That would be an announcement where I think a lot of people would get excited. So, I mean, I think most of us would buy the Dreamcast Mini.
Yeah.
So
inject it, baby, inject it.
Yeah.
They did also say they're looking to remaster, reboot. And remake those as well. So I hope that they take the route that
Skies of Arcadia.
It wasn't on the list.
Jet Grind was, though. Hell yeah.
That's because it's in the works.
I really hope they take the Square Enix route. Square Enix has done a fantastic job, with that over the last couple of years. Just go that route and sell 1 million of Trials of Mana. Like, that's money in the bank, man. Yep. Like, if you do, and like, it's not even like they spent like a arm and a leg on that game. It's just Unreal Engine 4, $50 game. So I really hope they do that.
Fish Fan says, great show, Spawn Crew. Shout out to MIA85. Ben Mason with the $3 super chat. Thanks, Ben. And then Riku Key2 says, I bought the Amiibos and controller for display. Let's go to our final topic of tonight, and that is Square Enix. Yay. Square is going to have, I would say an interesting showing at E3, but they're also going to be at the Summer Games Fest, which that whole list that they put out was a bit surprising. But I also assume that anyone on that list could also be providing like a 2-minute trailer or something.
It can also be part of E3.
What?
The actual Summer Game Fest is essentially 4 tentpoles. It's the pre-show, the Ubisoft show, EA. So it could still technically entail what is during E3's 4 days.
That sounds like a cop-out.
Yeah, anyway, okay. Anyway, because they're going to do a live show. They're going to kick off June 10th, right?
That's one of the tentpoles. So technically the list of participants do not have to partake in the kickoff show.
Oh, okay. Because I figured Sony would be there because they're not at E3, but Sony could do their own event that would fit into that technically.
Technically, I guess it could be a state of play.
Yes,
during this time, and then Jeff can tweet it and say
he's doing that thing where he's pointing at it. He's like, "That's part of Summer Game Fest right there."
Yeah, it's not to say that Sony does not have something in the kickoff show, but it doesn't necessarily dictate that what you saw on the list will be there.
Glad this isn't confusing or anything.
Why are we having Summer Games Fest this year? E3's back, Jeff.
I know.
What are you doing, man?
We gotta bring Keely on so we can grill him.
Kill it up right now.
Shoot it.
Oh boy. Yeah, Jeff can come on. Sure, him and Sean, I'm sure would have quite the conversation. Okay, so Square. Okay, well, okay. So let's just say for now, Square is going to have a show at E3. We'll just go with that, right?
Yeah, we know Square has an event in June. They haven't dated it. They have not given an actual date or time.
Yes. Okay. So I mean, it appears like it was named, like the ESA named Square, right, as one of the participants.
Technically, all that has to mean is that they have a presence. So they could have, like, they could just be at someone else's. Like, let's use Microsoft just as an example. I'm not saying they're there, but they could have a game at the Microsoft show.
Sounds like Square's there.
Square is part. No, I am not saying that. Just hypothetically. Like, Life is Strange could be at Microsoft show.
Confirmed.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So, well, they did E3 shows last time, and it was pretty good. So let's just say they're gonna do a show. All right.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think they're gonna? What do you think Square's gonna show up with this year at E3?
A fantastic showing of software.
Okay. I like that.
I am most excited about Square out of any company for E3.
Interesting. Okay. So Square is the one you're keeping on. So, like, do you think we'll see updates to, like, Babylon's Fall, for example?
Yes.
All right, Nate. What about Project Triangle Strategy?
Why not give us an update? We had the demo. We gave some feedback. Let's see a new trailer.
Okay, let's cut to the chase. All right, because there's the new Final Fantasy game that's being rumored. All right.
Yeah.
It's apparently going to be a Sony exclusive, I guess, or PlayStation's funding, or they're throwing money around. All right. It's below the tier, I guess, of Final Fantasy 16, right? Is how I understand it, but it's above the tier of, like, World of Final Fantasy.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, how do you feel about this rumor here, Nate? What are you thinking about this?
I've commented on this rumor. It is a new direction for the Final Fantasy franchise. I will not go.
Oh wait, so this is an actual this is an actual thing.
Yeah, it's very real.
Oh, I thought we were just pretending it's a rumor. Okay, so anyway, let's
It's a kart racer.
So visual novel. It's going to be a visual novel. All right.
It's going to excite people. It will excite a decent amount of people. I'm looking forward to this very much, and I can't wait for it to be revealed and see people's reactions.
Holy
Final
shit.
Fantasy.
So yeah, you know, they've done 3 kart racers. They did 3 racing games from Final Fantasy. It's gonna be that, isn't it? It's gonna be some bullshit.
Is it an RPG?
It has RPG elements, yes.
It's a shooter.
Wait, but it has RPG elements. Okay, that's too broad.
20 questions.
Is it gonna? It's Dirge Cerberus.
Wait,
bring it back, Dirge Cerberus.
I have a couple. Just 2 more questions. Just 2 more questions. Okay. RPG elements. Anything can have RPG elements. So, is it in third-person view, as in, like, you can see your character walk around?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, this is a video game voice.
It's a Sony, I mean, it's a Sony exclusive. Of course, it's an over-the-shoulder game.
It's like a law.
It's gonna be
on our console.
What if it's like the Star Wars game, Fallen Order? You know, what if it's a Final Fantasy in that style?
Oh my god. I would lose my fucking mind. Okay.
Hey, is it like Fallen Order, Nate?
So a Souls-like.
Okay, so all right. So
I didn't mean to actually be right.
Here's the question: is it going to be at E3, or do you think it'll just be? I assume it's going to be a state of play.
Like, I know it will be revealed in June, whether it's E3 or.
Oh, okay.
Where's this rumor coming from?
I know it's in June.
It's inside the house.
What's the source of this rumor? What's the source? Where did this rumor?
It's from Reset Era.
Okay, from Reset Era. Okay, I'm just setting up a clickbait video. That's all. So you got.
Okay. Yeah.
Reset Era made mention that there is a PlayStation 5 exclusive Final Fantasy game being announced in June. I later commented on it that it is a new direction for the franchise and it will excite people. And that's as far as I'm going to go on it.
My God,
it's not up to the level of 16. It's not up to the level of 16. So if it's a new direction, that means it's not a third-person RPG action adventure like a Kingdom Hearts or like a Final Fantasy. It's not, or Final Fantasy 15. So it's got to be something different. So it's got to be like what Jordan said.
This is the better question.
It's going to be like Heavy Rain.
Is it?
Oh, finally.
Are you sure it's not going to make fans mad?
Ooh, that's good.
Everything makes a fan mad, so it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
piss off somebody.
Well, what about me? So I'm the biggest Final Fantasy fan, but I like the RPG tropes. I like tactics and stuff. Am I gonna coom?
I was hoping it'd be tactics, but we have project geometry over there, so I don't really need.
Yeah, you got trigonometry for the Switch, so you don't need another tactic.
I do though. You're surprised I actually do. I need more tactics.
Maybe it's just a shooter. Maybe it's just a first person or third person shooter. Final Fantasy.
This is definitely an action adventure, like more. Like
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
like a single player action adventure type of route game.
It's all my hopes and dreams.
Not an RPG, but with some elements in there. It's definitely that, like a Fallen Order or something like that. It has to be.
Or is it a pachinko machine?
Well, that's inevitable too.
That is a new direction.
But with all this Final Fantasy stuff,
I mean,
this new game will have 16. You know, when are we getting When are we getting this part 2 to the remake?
Ooh.
When is 17? When is
I feel like we're gonna hear about that. We'll probably hear about that like next year or something. That's right.
Depends the type of marketing cycle they want to do for it. I'd say if they want to do a limited marketing cycle, then yeah, it would probably be like next summer, depending on how short they want to make this window. But we have Intergrade coming out the week of E3.
Yeah. Yep. That's why it's gonna be next year.
I mean, what I'm hoping for is I wish, because there's so much curiosity about Remake Part 2 and a lot of people don't even know. I hope they just say the title or something of just like, yes, Part 2 is on the way. Another just Sephiroth's feather floating down and saying the next chapter is in development. Like even that.
Now, is this Final Fantasy game that's coming out, this exclusive one, is it more along the lines of a potential like the more futuristic stuff with like cars and sci-fi elements, or is it going to be more like 16 with more of the fantasy element? Because those are two different distinctions that they've been doing recently.
You've used up all your questions.
Magic
lamp.
That 8-ball, yeah.
No. Mate, I have another question. So is there going to be another brand new IP from Square that's not in the Final Fantasy universe at all that we don't know about?
At E3?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know the entire show. I only know a select few things.
Okay, well, how about we go into something that I think a lot of people are hoping is there, anticipating even, and that is the next game in the Dragon Quest series. Can we get Dragon Quest 12?
Wouldn't that be before E3? Isn't that this week?
Well, they could tease that it's going to be shown at like E3 or something, right?
Yeah, they've done that stuff before. Tune into our press conference.
Yeah, like full unveiling of Dragon Quest. So the reason I say that is because it's been a while since Dragon Quest 11 came out.
2017, and then 2018 in the West, and then 2019 for the Switch. So
it came out. I remember it came out like right next to Spider-Man in the West. Like it was like the same week, even I think, as Spider-Man.
Yeah, 20. It came out very close.
Yeah, it was like
there was no shipments of the game. There was like barely. It was hard to find in stores. Yeah, there was no shipments of the game. And you know, it ended up doing good later on, but.
But yeah, it went to PC. Then we got the Switch version, of course, and all this, and it sold well. Like, and it was done on Unreal Engine, which I would assume they're going to use again. So that should. I would assume, because Unreal Engine, of course, we've seen help with development in terms of getting it done quicker than what they would usually do with some of the Dragon Quest games. So I would think we're kind of coming up on it being time to start talking about Dragon Quest 12.
There's a more important thing though with this. We need to see a remake of some of the they haven't. We need to see a remake of either 9 or 8. I think like one of those
6.
two.
I would totally take a 6 remake in the style.
I'll take any remake at this point, but yeah.
I want an Octopath Traveler style remake of 6.
I think 6 is definitely the one that should be primed like to be remade in some way. Just because it obviously the jump would be pretty good from what we were used to on like the Super Nintendo. But 9, I mean 8 or 9 would be cool, but I think 6 is the one because obviously there's a lot of people who have not played 6 at all. I think there are a lot of people who look at the visual style of that and the graphics, and they just immediately walk right past it, kind of, because it can be off-putting for them. So if they brought that up and redid it I think it'd be really cool. And that would be, obviously, that'd be a game, as long as they did it correctly and it wasn't terrible, that'd be really easy to recommend to people, too.
Yeah, well, especially because 6 has so many of the exact elements from 7. The fact that there's side quests and optional mega bosses and stuff, like, people see it as Super Nintendo graphics, but it's basically the predecessor to 7 in so many different themes. Like, if they just updated the art and, like, made it pop a little bit, you could sell it exactly as is.
Yep. There's a lot of interesting stuff they did with the story in that game too. So I'd be really happy to see that get unveiled, provided the visuals weren't terrible. It didn't look like kind of the. Remember they did like. They did some older Final Fantasy and it looked like on like the cell phone. They looked terrible in terms of like the 3D and stuff they chose.
I bought and played them. They weren't too terrible, but they were weird. They were weird. They were definitely different.
I mean, we saw what they did with Chrono Trigger on like PC and stuff. So
yeah.
I get concerned sometimes about Square, so I'm hoping they kind of figured it out overall.
Right. So I have 3 questions for Nate. Just quick yes or no. Anything about Chrono Trigger?
Ooh.
Yes,
I would suspect not.
Oh,
I'd be very surprised, and I'd be very
What about-
happy if we do see Chrono Trigger, though.
What about Brave Fencer Musashi? Anything there?
Stranger things have happened.
Well,
Wait, one
can't
more.
say no. Can't say
about-
no.
What about Ironhander?
Yeah, now you're asking the real questions.
Wow.
King of the Ring.
Yeah, it's going to be called Hander Stranger in Paradise, because that sounds like a Square Enix name.
Hey, can I get one question?
What about let's just get serious here for a minute, okay? What about Quiet Man 2?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably going to shadow drop. Has a $100 million budget. They've hired Norman Reedus, and Kojima's directing. Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's probably going to win an Oscar as well as Game of the Year.
I thought Kojima was doing Bouncer too.
No,
I would buy
be
Bouncer 2. If they showed it and it looked halfway decent, I would get Bouncer 2.
Okay,
I'd buy it too.
Valkyrie Profile.
As much as I love that franchise, does anyone remember it?
I do. That's why I'm
I do.
asking you.
Me. We're the only ones who bought it on the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation Portal.
There's a mobile game. There's a mobile game that
it.
they talked about already. So, any chances of Valkyrie Profile?
I don't know the entire show, so
Oh
maybe.
my gosh.
Any chances of Chrono Cross?
Probably
So-
as good as the odds of Chrono Trigger.
So wait, hold on. So that's really interesting though, this whole thing with Final Fantasy, because we keep hearing that Microsoft is trying to get more Japanese developers on board with the Xbox brand, but like we keep seeing Sony go to Square and just get like these Final Fantasy games now.
Keeps breaking out the checkbook.
You know what? My thought was Microsoft rolls in and does something with Dragon Quest 12. They get that as a worldwide release alongside Square day one, and they drop it in Game Pass.
Maybe. I mean, that's a tough sell, I think, even if you're Square, because, yeah, the PlayStation is irrelevant in Japan. So by the time Dragon Quest 12 comes out, that's not even really going to be a factor. But the Switch is going to be a 25 million base.
Oh no, it still releases everywhere. I'm just saying, Microsoft comes in, gets it released worldwide, but then also drops it in the Game Pass day one.
I would say it might depend on how 11 did on Game Pass.
Well, I'm saying that because like we saw what happened with Outriders, where they got that dropped in. I mean, that lines up a bit better with obviously like a Gears of War style, kind of game. But they did get Dragon Quest dropped in to Game Pass as soon as it released on the Xbox. So there's some kind of relationship there between Microsoft and Square.
But Dragon Quest is kind of on its own level. They really have
Dragon Quest on the Xbox though.
But they
Dragon
haven't really
Quest
got a game from Square on the tier of a Dragon Quest in terms of like a day one launch. Like you have Octopath, fantastic get. Sony doesn't even have Octopath yet, but the cost of getting Octopath and probably even Outriders is probably a fraction of what Square would want to have Dragon Quest day one on Game Pass.
Okay. I was just gonna say because if anything, they should at least try to make it so Dragon Quest releases on the Xbox. That might be a good idea.
Is that a worthy investment? I mean, I saw a lot of the Xbox dudes that I follow. They played Dragon Quest for about 5 minutes and was like, I'm out.
Well,
so I don't know how well the game's doing.
Well, they really want xCloud also to be part of it to work in Japan like badly. And I don't know if it's taking off how they were hoping it would, or because it goes to mobile phones. Like, mobile phones are big all over the place, right? So if they start getting those kind of games, they're like, okay, we're just gonna get it to xCloud, and like That's what they just want you to buy Game Pass. They don't care how you get there. So
even like Octopath, man. Like people are like, oh wait a minute, there's random encounters. I'm
out. I mean, Microsoft, if they're that serious, if Phil's that serious, he's got to start taking some big swings for like the Japan market eventually.
He's got Scarlet Nexus. That's one. That's it's not Game Pass, but it's a
the marketing. Yeah, sure. Like Square seems up for taking money, so I we'll see. We'll see if they do anything with it. Even if they debuted it and did some marketing for Dragon Quest, that would at least do something for the game on the Xbox. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see with that one. But I'm looking forward to Square now, Nate. I'm looking forward to it.
Square's gonna have a pretty exciting show. Like I said, I mean, you have to remember, I look forward to things like Life is Strange as well. Things almost no one on this panel have interest in. So
played the hell out of that game. I love it.
Yeah, I like the first one.
I'm just saying, sometimes Square releases weird games that only interest me.
The title screen was really cool.
Oh, did they get the rights to Ski Sniper?
No, but I'm going to try to recreate that in Garage.
Is that Game Pass day one?
That's a great idea.
I'm going to try to recreate it in Garage Maker over there.
That's a great idea.
I mean, you made the original, so it should be.
You're about to get banned like day one on that game.
I'm going to think of like a different like sport, like luge sniper or something.
It's going to be call it a bike shooter.
No, it's messed up.
You jump a gigantic ramp.
Maybe I'll shoot like, I'm not gonna shoot people. I'll shoot like skiing ducks or something.
What?
We gotta get stuff.
Yeah, P is gonna be on you.
And I'll shoot snowman.
What's wrong? Just stick with the classic Ski Sniper, okay?
No.
You're fine.
Game was weird. Shot people with crossbows. All they were doing was skiing. They were just doing a long jump.
I love that. Like I love the name Ski Sniper because it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It reminds me, there was like the old joke where this guy said, "I love RoboCop" because it's the exact thing. It's a robot cop. You know exactly what you're getting. Ski Sniper. You get it.
And yes, soccer, football,
ice hockey.
That's exactly what you're getting. You're getting that.
Let's Evan. We got some Discord questions over there.
What do you think Nintendo will do to address the defective Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire 3DS carts?
They're gonna pretend like those don't exist.
Yeah. It's only PAL.
That's gonna be
Who
that.
cares?
I'm scared to check my copies.
Yeah, it's interesting what's going on with that. I
checked mine. Mine are fine.
A lot of people are claiming it is PAL centered, like the PAL related cards.
I think the percentage is really, 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 really low on that. And I think there's a lot of just fear mongering almost that's going on with that stuff.
It'll be interesting.
I'm not saying it's not a thing. It's a thing, but like I don't think it's as bad as what led to believe.
It'll be interesting if because Persona Q was the other one that was affected in general, like everywhere apparently, the US as well. So I'll be curious to see if other games have those issues down the road, because we know that 3DS shop's going to get closed eventually. So if like the 3DS shop closes and these games start just kind of becoming defective, then you have a serious issue when it comes to like just game preservation in general. So, but I do wonder how large the percentages of people affected by it. We got another Discord question.
Anyone played House of Data Morgana? The game beat Ocarina on Metacritic with a 100 media score. I will say that's only with 6 reviewers. I double checked that, so I
didn't check that one out. I did check out Calculator though. They actually got the same user score as Monster Hunter Rise, so I had to take a look.
Oh yeah.
I saw some speed runs online for that too.
And the last one's kind of just a what if. What if another console entered the next gen market and it specifically got all the sports games which were exclusive to it? Do you think it would annihilate Sony and Microsoft?
There is one coming out later this year.
You know what I'd be really interested in is if EA ever decided to do it and they made their sports titles exclusive.
That's just not gonna tip the balance of how many you need more than just sports games.
But like all the other games EA has too. Like they have a lot of games, but like they also technically could try to get other games on there as like, third, like they could be like, yo, let's get Assassin's Creed on the system too from Ubisoft. But that's interesting because they technically hold the rights to like the NFL, right, for making those games. They basically hold, well, for now, eventually they won't, but they have a decent enough relationship for Star Wars. And it does make you wonder if EA ever decided to just throw money at it and take a shot at it.
Those
if they
deals
were able
would
to get
probably end up not being extended because it's in the NFL's interest to reach as many players or users as possible. So if they start EA keeping it exclusive to a limited base, they'd probably say the contract is now void.
That makes sense.
Or we're not extending it beyond this, whatever our expiration date is.
But if they pulled that after they signed the deal for like the next 10 years, and then they're like, oh yeah, now we're making a console, and they have a solid 6 years of doing that. So
there's got to be a generation.
There's
got to be an out in that contract that says that you can't do stuff like that just to protect them, But yeah, I mean,
I would just be curious if that would work or not. If another company could do it, if it would be EA or who would do it.
The only Activision maybe, because they've got GTA. They've got Call of Duty. They've got.
Well, they have like Take-Two, I guess, would try to do that with GTA. That would be interesting though if GTA went exclusive to a console that was made by Take-Two. I don't know if they have enough to.
It would have to be two, so it would have to be like Take-Two, Activision, and like Activision, Blizzard, Take-Two. Like it'd have to be like a couple people coming together to do
one of them would have to buy the other basically, and then they would be like, now let's make our console. Now
it couldn't just be one of them because you need a large amount of resources to make a console.
That's an interesting topic to be like, okay, which third party big company would be the best, have the best shot at launching a console?
Activision, EA, Take-Two, like those three, like a Triforce or something, or like a Power Rangers. They form together and just say, "Hey, we're gonna do it."
That's an interesting. Do we have any more Discord questions, Evan?
The last one we have is just a classic. Which Resident Evil game will Misclick start playing memes? And she's not even here.
She started playing Mass Effect though. So we're getting somewhere here. We're getting there.
I think everybody should play. Everybody should play Resident Evil 7 and 8. They're so freaking good.
And this is from Swift X Miles. Should I mod my GameCube with RGB lights? If you have more than one, I think you should try to keep one as classic as possible, and then buy one online that's kind of roughed up and just restore it completely and put RGB lights in there. Do all kinds of cool stuff.
With spinners
like
on the wheels.
The controller port LEDs you can put in. That's cool.
Those are cool. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would get one off of eBay or at a flea market or wherever you can find one, and just do all kinds of stuff to that. Just keep one original is what I would say. This is from the Xbot Murder. Reminder, Jeff lied, Starfield 2021, Jason bodied Nate.
My God.
He didn't lie. He reported the information that he had. Maybe the information's out of date. That's how information works. But apparently grasping how information flows is just too difficult for you.
Nate, things are either fact or they're not.
Yeah. This guy lives in a pure black and white world. There's no in between anything.
It's from Jack saying, tipping point, Amiibo exclusive ending for a game. Ooh, that would probably do it.
That would suck.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting though to think about? If Nintendo ever did implement an achievement system and you needed an Amiibo to get an achievement in the game to 100%
it. They put Mass Effect.
Would that do it?
And they give you a separate Amiibo that gives you a new ending.
No, let's say it's 1,000 gamer score or whatever for a game like Microsoft does, and the Amiibo gives you 2 points. So if you don't have the Amiibo, you 100% everything else, you will always have a 998 score, not 999 to make it at least look like okay, that's 998. Would that be the tipping point? I think so.
I don't know. I think it would just annoy. It would annoy people.
But every time you looked at that, though, your gamer score in particular, because that would throw everything off.
You have to care about your gamer score.
Yeah.
That one Link Amiibo. Let's keep me from those 2 points.
Yeah, but you have to care about it.
Well, there was a thing like that a long time ago where you couldn't get the full, you couldn't get all the gamer score for Dead Rising 2 unless you pre-ordered it, because pre-ordering it gave you a DLC prequel chapter. People were mad about that for like 2 weeks in 2004.
This is from Reese saying, hey, SpawnCast, with the release of FE4 on Super Famicom Online in Japan, Does this affect the likelihood of a full-on FE4 remake? If I recall, FE2 still isn't on Nintendo Switch Online, and that was remade 4 years ago. This Fire Emblem. Oh yeah, Super Famicom Online did get that, didn't they? They got like the Fire Emblem game.
If they're gonna do a remake of FE4,
yeah.
it'd already be in. I don't think this affects anything. It'd already be in development, and they'd have some plans for it. So
yeah, this doesn't invalidate the possibility of the remake happening. I can see why some may look at that and say, well, this is going to give me some doubt, but it doesn't cancel out the possibility of them remaking Fire Emblem 4. It's just a game they wanted to put on the service. You could also look at it in the complete reverse and say that they're trying to generate interest by releasing it in Japan on the Nintendo Switch Online service because they have the remake planned. So you could really go, either direction with it.
Nate says Master Chief introduced to Smash. Mario is fighting someone, and a sticky grenade lands on his face. Master Chief joins the battle. They could probably do some fun stuff with Master Chief if they decide to put him in.
I never said that.
Constance says Lego Dimensions, pointing out the Toys to Life stuff that was a whole thing on its own. The Robot Chicken says, come on, Pokemon, make Amiibo to exclusively unlock Pokemon that currently aren't in Sword and Shield. You want to. That would be an interesting day online. Yeah. People would forget about the N64 tree, though.
Definitely would, yeah.
That might compound it. Like we got N64 trees, and now we got to pay for Pokemon.
Hey, maybe an Amiibo comes in and makes it a GameCube tree. There we go. I'm selling Amiibos left and right.
That's
over here.
the upgrade we've been waiting for.
Liam says, imagine if the Smash DLC was behind Amiibos. Zaire Miller says, do you think the Amiibo function is chosen by the devs or Nintendo itself?
I mean, combination.
A combination, but probably Nintendo. Probably like they just
because that would kind of go away from necessarily game development, them trying to think of how to sell technically the toy aspect of it.
But you still have to like the Switch SDK still has specific APIs for Amiibos, so the devs would have had they would know about it.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. This is Victor saying, so happy for Jordan and reaching 50,000 subs. Also cute Charmander next to you. Where did you get it?
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. This is part of a standee set. I have Pikachu and Trico on it. These are from the UK for Mystery Dungeon promotion. And they're just cool promotional items that I like.
Pretty good. It's a good flex.
We don't get a lot of Mystery Dungeon items, so it's cool to get promo stuff for it.
Okay. This one's from Jay. Everyone on the SpawnCast is looking cute tonight. Thank you, Jay.
I'm trying. I'm hitting that gym every day.
You can't prove that.
Sonico says, love the podcast. Is it better to play PS2 AV cables on a 1080p LED TV or forking over money for a high-end adapter on a much newer 4K TV?
Get the Retro Tink.
There it
5X.
is. Yep. I saw that video. That looks good.
Watch my video.
That is a solid looking adapter right there. Tijo says those Xbox backwards compatibility features sound neat, but is there a way to turn all that off and play 360 OG games as they were, but on Xbox One, Series X, or Series S? If it's FPS boost, you can turn that off.
Yeah, you can turn
auto HDR. You can turn off.
Yeah.
But I think if they added anything like when they did Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and they just made it run better, I don't think so. No, I think that's just how it is. But I mean, like, do you want to go back to like the 480i and like at 20 frames per second? Nah. Jay says MVG the GOAT. In fact, everyone on the SpawnCast is the GOAT. Thank you, Jay.
I try.
Witty profile name says, don't hate on me, boys, but I had never even heard of TimeSplitters. I think I was too young. That's why they got to do the remaster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that everybody has their blind spots. There's a lot of, I didn't know what Biten Katos was until like 20 years after the console failed,
Nintendo Eric says, I'd buy an HD collection of all 3 TimeSplitter games at $60. Never tried the first one before anyway. I mean, if they want to do all of them, why not throw it in a collection? Nick says, forget crypto, buy GameCube games. You know who's never had a bad day on the market? Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. That's true. That's true.
He's not wrong.
Just go up. They just keep going up.
Does that make Fire Emblem the Bitcoin of GameCube games?
No, I think that would probably be Cubivore.
Or would it be Pokemon Box?
Wouldn't it be?
It's Master Quest.
Well, no, Cubivore used to be cheap like 3 or 4 years ago, and now it's like ridiculous. Pokemon Box has always been expensive.
Wouldn't it be Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg?
How much is that one now?
It's a lot.
Is it? Wow. Man.
Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg is the equivalent of
Dogecoin.
No, it's better than that.
Dark Dream says, with talks of Zelda Ocarina of Time HD port, all-out remake by Grezzo, any thoughts? That would be as wonderful as Sonic Adventure 3 at E3. Much love all. Yeah, why not? Bring all the Zeldas. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Throw them all on the Switch. Who cares?
Same Zelda game we've played. Yeah, it'd be great.
Bring it all over. Philip says, can we get Pete Dorr on the cast one week?
I watch Pete Dorr. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm not sure he'd come on. He's like a game collector. He does these streams where he'll like look at eBay and find like the rarest games for good prices, and then once he gets him, he plays him. Really unique content creator. But I don't know if it does podcast. But yeah, he'd be interesting to talk to.
He's one of the OG retro gaming YouTubers. He's fantastic.
He's one of the inventors of sitting in front of your collection, and I'm not joking about that.
His room tour, I remember his videos back in the day. The room tour videos were like blow everything away. He had like a museum. He still has a museum in his room, basically. Mm-hmm. So awesome.
Rich has a little animated sticker here. Very cool. Disruptor says, hey John, I recently started watching your videos and listening to the podcast. Is there a chance for the Newsway to release in an audio format like on Spotify for those on daily commutes? I've thought about that, but Evan does a lot of editing on that for video, so maybe we'll look into that someday. You never know. Spotify could come knocking, you know. They want like a news show on their
yeah, right. That's Spotify money.
They want it. They gotta pay.
Yeah. The Dark Void says, I did put out a new podcast with Jeff Grubb though, where we talked about some E3 stuff though. So I'm still doing those podcasts.
Real quick, what you can do, homie. This is what I do. You could just make a playlist. Just make a playlist, and if you got premium, it can run in the background, and then on your commute, Bluetooth on your phone. That's what I do when I don't always watch, John, but I always, when I'm running, I can listen to it because it's on my phone. I can just listen to what he has to say. So you can just do that, and it's just as good in my opinion.
They let you download the videos too now. Like you can, if you have like all that, you can download it. And so if you're home with Wi-Fi before you leave, you can just download the video when it pops up. Technically, I'll do that too. But just if I don't want to use a mobile data, I'll just download a couple of videos that I want to listen to.
It's and like I said, if you're on your commute, you have Bluetooth. It's easy. So that's what I would do if I were you, man.
This is Dark Void saying, you know what's upsetting is that the Nintendo Switch Online still doesn't have the great classics like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Bible Adventures, Action 52, or Super Noah's Ark 3D. I hope I made everyone laugh.
It worked.
Okay.
Wait, that was tweeted to me earlier in the week.
Good show.
I recognize that comment.
They wanted to make sure you saw it.
Yeah.
We have a few more super chats here as well as Streamlabs, but wanted to go around here. Max may actually have to step out here.
I do, yeah. I have a friend. I'm afraid who's about to knock on my front door. Thanks so much. I've actually been getting a bunch of subscribers lately, and most of them from all the reviews. So thanks to everybody. I always see in chat people, whenever I drop a review, people in chat are so nice about it. So much love to you, chat. And if you want to watch my stuff, I have a big 13-minute long Biomutant review going up Monday morning. Well, maybe I'm not even allowed to say that. I have a big Biomutant review that's going up soon. So go subscribe and watch that. And I'm going to run away.
All right. Thanks, Max. Jordan, you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on the YouTube channel Jordan Fringe. Like we said earlier, I hit 50,000 subscribers yesterday. So thank you very much for checking out the content. I appreciate it.
Very nice. And then what about OJ over there? Player Essence.
Yeah. Find me on YouTube right here, Player Essence. Shout outs to the SpawnCast crew. Shout outs to all you guys. All the SpawnCast dudes been like a lot of you guys come over and watch the stream, so I really appreciate that. So yeah. In terms of content, I stream daily. I also edit content daily. I cover Nintendo, JRPGs, action games, stuff like that. So I've got a big gameplay video on Scarlet Nexus probably tomorrow morning. Played through that, really excited about it. So if you're into stuff like that, and I'll have some information or a new video, Tales of Arise stuff should be happening pretty soon here. So if you're into all that stuff, I make content and stream daily. So yeah, come through. Thanks for having me on once again, John.
Okay, let's go to Lord Thanos saying, does Nintendo Switch have the same C-bomb vulnerability discovered in the PS4? To my knowledge, it does not. No. Yep. And Anne says, hey guys, did you hear the rumor that Google has ranked Stadia higher in the list of priorities? What do you think about that? I don't know if that's if they're really they're doing the complete opposite of what they said there.
As everyone bails on the ship, let's put it higher. Let's
yeah. I mean, I'll look into that just to see if there's anything there, but I don't know. Stadia, not a lot of confidence in Stadia right now. This is Sakon 10 saying, to all, what series you don't mind getting yearly titles of?
If I had to go back in time, I'd say Castlevania, when we used to get one each year on the DS and the Game Boy Advance.
As much as I give Call of Duty a hard time, if it has a good single player campaign, I'm going to pick it up and play it every year.
Yep. I agree.
I mean, I've played every single one of them except for that stupid Black Ops 3. Was it Black Ops 3? Yeah, Jordan knows what I'm talking about.
Black Ops 3 had an awful campaign.
Yeah, and so I've played every single one of them, so it's like a guilty pleasure for me, really.
It used to just be Rockstar games because they'd kick one out almost every year, and then they found GTA 5. So
I'm gonna say Pokemon, but not the main series games. The spin-off titles they usually release one a year of. Like last year, Mystery Dungeon. We had Snap. This year, I'm always interested in them going back to those type of titles.
Okay. And then we have Joshua saying, MVG, have you checked out Fuse on Switch? It uses a language similar to Python. Would that or the Garage game be a better starting place? Great podcast, guys. My favorite part of Saturday.
I actually have Fuse, and I'm going to be covering Game Garage when it comes out, and I may do a comparison with Fuse, but I mean, I think Game Garage is, and we've seen like what it can do, and I think Nintendo in Japan just released a 10-minute video of some of the things you can build with it. So I think as far as accessibility and getting into it, I think Game Garage is a lot better. But Fuse is a good tool, and I will definitely, take a look at both again, or take a look at Fuse when I cover Game Garage as well.
MG, you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yes, thank you for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at modernvintageg and on YouTube at modernvintagegamer. I have a video coming out on Monday. I released a quick one today about Xbox OG Easter egg, so check that out if you're interested. And thanks for having me on.
This is Potbelly saying, when will Microsoft raise Game Pass price? It is inevitable. I would say when they get to a certain number of adoption they're comfortable with, and they'll look into pricing structure.
I would say when Phil Spencer rolls up his sleeve and there's a Grand Theft Auto 6 tattoo on his arm.
Shinru says, hey MVG, now that Dreamcast is here, what is his role on making the SpawnCast console? He's gone now though. Dreamcast guy's gone. Also, where can I pre-order it? I need details, please. Remember we were going through and you were doing like the whole, you were saying what everyone was going to do when we made the SpawnCast console.
Oh yeah, what's Dreamcast guy's role?
What was his role?
Oh man, he's going to review it, of course, right? I mean, he's going to be the shield reviewer.
I think he would be. No, he'd be the shield guy that does the write-ups of the games that are coming out on it with like a bunch of hype. It'd be good.
And OJ's the social media manager. We talked about this last time.
What was my role? Forgot.
You're making the documentary. You're like No Clip, doing the documentary on the console.
What was I? I was the UI voice.
You were the UI, yeah.
That's right. I was Hal.
Play game. I'm sorry. I cannot do that.
You've been playing too long today. You must take a nap.
Boycott
Want to
says,
play Returnal? I don't think so. Time to crash.
Jordan, been watching the pod with less shadows, and you have reinvigorated my love for Pokemon. You all seem like genuine friends, and it's awesome. I appreciate you.
Appreciate. I have a Pokemon podcast called Shadowless. Appreciate that. Thanks so much for listening.
This one's from Devin, who asked, OJ, did you play the Scarlet Nexus demo? I can say he did, and you should check out his channel tomorrow to see what he thought of it.
Yes, sir.
There we go. This is from Bring Back saying, let's make that Chrono Trigger Chrono Cross package ported to Switch a reality. Let's go. The Switch is the ultimate RPG console to date. I'd be okay with a little collection like that. That'd be cool. Shinru says, "Here's a long shot. Hope Ouya 2 reveal at E3 MVG."
I mean,
he's not serious. He can't.
How do I respond to that?
I would ask, why would anyone hope for that?
He's joking. He likes to go on my stream. And
I would love for that to happen, by the way, because that would just give me a pretty good video, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I would get it, make a video.
What if Soulja Boy is at E3 with his new console?
Well, then I'd make a video on that too.
Standing right alongside the president of Wish.com. It'd be great.
Yeah, ready to ship this right to you.
Blake says, "Hi OJ, did you buy the Royal Blue Switch Lite? I guess the new one that came out." No,
I got like 15 questions yesterday, like back to back. People asking me that. No,
I got it. It's almost purple. Not quite.
I saw your. I listened to your video and then I saw a picture of it after I was done running. So
it's almost purple. Not quite.
Not quite.
Trom says, "Been watching Castlevania Season 4 and is so far 10 out of 10. Why haven't Konami capitalized on this and make a new one or even port older titles? Well, they made like the collection, but like they should just make a new one."
Yeah, they ported. They did the one on the PlayStation. They did Rondo of Blood and Symphony
I
of the Night.
genuinely believe if someone told me that Konami was just too dumb to take advantage of it, I would believe them. I'd be like, yeah, well, yeah.
You also have to factor in this. Let's just factor in. Castlevania is not a massive seller. By the way, you guys want to know what the best-selling Castlevania game is? Lords of Shadow. Just throwing that out there.
I believe it.
Yeah, the best-selling one is Lords of Shadow. The first one, Lords of Shadow 1, is the best-selling Castlevania game. And when you think like, wait a minute, it's sold better than Symphony of the Night, it did. You know, so just it's not this major franchise. But that being said, I'm a huge Castlevania fan, and they should definitely make a new Castlevania game. So yeah.
Do you remember when Symphony of the Night came out? It wasn't. I mean, it reviewed exceptionally well. Don't get me wrong, but it was at a crossroads, right? Because like, everyone wanted 3D games, and this was a 2D game. It didn't sell very well at the time.
People hated on it. You know, they were like, oh, another Castlevania, because we had already gotten multiple. We got Castlevania 1 through 3. We got Super Castlevania 4. So we all thought that was the pinnacle of Castlevania, right? Was Super Castlevania 4 at the time, and then we see this, and it's like, wait a minute, it's just more 2D Castlevania. But that was when they birthed the Metroidvania. It was completely different. So people didn't give it a chance, at the time. But then we realized how great it was. But it never really did anything crazy numbers. But hopefully they bring it back, because I'm a huge Castlevania dude. So.
People didn't even learn from that. Like Symphony of the Night is fantastic. I say, it didn't sell, but it still had, positive word of mouth. It started to build that cult following. And then we had fantastic trilogy on the Game Boy Advance and the DS, and people still didn't show up for them then. And in many ways, and it'd be a topic of debate among some people, the DS Castlevania games are better than Symphony of the Night in many ways. And it's a shame people didn't pick it up. And for even Lords of Shadow, for that game to achieve the sales it did, look what it took Konami to do. They had to attach Hideo Kojima's name to it.
And they had to clone God of War too. Like they had to make the gameplay look like God of War for it, and for it to even do what it did.
Yeah, you took God of War and like Shadow of the Colossus, and you made a Castlevania, and it was great. And then they threw it all away with that horrendous Lords of Shadow 2.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Lords of Shadow 2 is because the development of that game, it got really big. They gave them a lot of money. Then the team could not live up to what it was.
It made no sense.
Yeah, it made the story was just an Alucard. It's like what's Alucard doing here? Alucard
and also you're running around factories killing rats. It's like I'm Dracula.
Yeah, and then it ended really well. Like Lords of Shadow was like great ending, right? Like the fact that
it was so good that a movie in 2014 called Dracula Untold copied the same ending in theaters. I remember watching that. I was like, wow, they just took the ending of that game.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that. That's cool.
This one's from Shinru. Just finished Luigi's Mansion 3 last week, and it's an amazing game on the Switch with the best graphics so far. Wish I could clean a haunted house and find money in everything I broke. It is a good looking game. Jord says, tuning in. Where's RGT though? He's Whirlpool shopping. Andrew says, hot take, Hollow Knight is one of the GOATs. That's not really a hot take. It's a good game.
Is that a hot take?
Yeah, that's a good game. Tijo says, isn't that Final Fantasy game just going to be Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2? Apparently not. Not according to Nate.
Final Fantasy Remake 2. It is a new
Tactics?
Final Fantasy project.
Is it Tactics 2?
No, it's not Tactics 2. It doesn't have the number
Final
2.
Fantasy Battle Royale.
It's a new direction.
It's a mobile game. That's already happening, John.
Now bring it. They're doing it on console.
Okay, they're doing it on console.
Fortnite graphics and everything.
Oh dear God.
The whole thing. TJ said, this is from Miguel saying, Spawn with the best thumbnails in game news. All right. Gravity says, any 3DS games you'd want ported to Switch. Samus Returns. Give that game another chance.
None. 3DS
from the 3DS. Let's do
Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably Kid Icarus, yeah.
Ever Oasis would be kind of cool to have too, if they can bring over Ever Oasis and like update the graphics, which was a game that nobody bought. Grezzo made that, so that'd be kind of cool.
Slope says Nintendo at E3, Zelda 35th updates for Animal Crossing New Horizons. Agent says Webfoot Technology just teased on Twitter some old games coming to new consoles. What are the chances of Legacy of Goku / Boo's Fury re-releases?
I hope high.
Wow. That would be interesting. Wow. Doctor says RetroTink or OSSCY?
RetroTink. OSSC has issues with resolution switching. And yeah, I mean, the RetroTink is just far superior overall, in my opinion.
Christian says, my favorite memory of childhood was reading IGN reviews. William says, just got a Carby for my GameCube. Should I get an M Classic or M Cable? The RetroTink is a little out of my budget. I think you're fine with just the Carby. Yep. Honestly, the visual quality you get, you're fine.
Yep.
So, yep. And then I have Patrick saying, love you guys. And I'll see if there's any other ones. Evan, you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Find me on Twitter, Kimmerix Project. If I ever stream, which is usually later in the week, or if anything's going on, I'll just post it up there.
Then what about Nate?
You can find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate and Twitter at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. We may have an episode this week. It really depends if anything happens this week. A lot of the industry is kind of slow right now because it's building up to E3. So
yep.
In terms of overall announcements and stuff for us to discuss, the pickings have been relatively slim, but hopefully the companies like Microsoft, Nintendo, Square, etc., all start to announce their E3 plans and give some dates and times for the presentations. And MVG and myself will bring on some guests and we'll start doing some E3 predictions for these companies. So once we get more concrete details, we'll begin to do some prediction podcasts. So hopefully this coming week we get some of that information.
I'll finish up with the Streamlabs stuff here. Liam says, why would the Epic versus Apple lawsuit even have details like Game Pass being on Switch when that has absolutely nothing to do with the topic matter? That's just one example, but there have been a ton revealed in that case that seems irrelevant. So they're just trying to make their case. They're going to all ends of the gaming spectrum where people have like walled gardens. So they're going everywhere they can to be like, look at this one. Now look at this one. Okay, now this backs up my case. And then the other side shows up is like, well, let's look over here because it disproves their case. And it's all over the place.
Nintendo, though.
What, for redacting it?
They just come in like you redact every single thing on this document except like just these random blurbs like they won't work with the Yakuza. And I'm sure Sony's looking at this saying, man, we should have redacted some stuff too.
Probably. This one's from Jeff saying, I hope you feel better, Jordan. This is off topic kind of, but if you're comfortable saying which shot did you get? I noticed in my family the Pfizer and AstraZeneca in Europe shot tended to give more side effects than the Moderna for some reason.
Well, thank you. I took took Moderna.
There you go. JD Fisher says, I just built a gaming PC and am now looking at monitors. I'm looking at 1440p monitors. Any recommendations with a good cost performance balance? I'd go for higher refresh if you get 144 hertz at least. I mean, 1440p, 144 hertz, you should be all right.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I have an Acer that's pretty big. That's those specs.
I would also look into anything like G-Sync, for example, if you have a NVIDIA card, if you can do it, because that is really helpful at like those higher frame rates or we'll say stuttering frame rates at times. So I mean, if you get into G-Sync, it gets more expensive, but you can find a good 1440p 144 hertz monitor on sale now in like the lower 200s without too much issue. But if you want a high quality one that's going to last you, that looks pretty nice, you might go into like the low 300s for that, just to make sure it's going to last you a while. Juice Man Vaughn says, in my opinion, if Nintendo made that Amiibo function an actual quality of life feature of the game, that circumvents a design aspect of the game. Amiibo gives you what is essentially a bypass or a cheat for $25, which is unneeded. In my opinion, a lot of outrage is based on misinformation. Sir Rich says, I love the way MVG says console or consoles. You guys are great. How are you saying that, MVG? What happened?
Consoles.
Okay. Benicera says, you're all the best. Thank you so much. Thank you, Benicera. Avedon says, keep doing your all thing. Thanks, Avedon. Appreciate that. And I think I got I just want to make sure I got everyone. I think I got everyone. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for the... Oh, wait, here we go. This is from T. Joe saying, what if that Final Fantasy game was Vroom Rex?
The hell is that?
I don't know. And then Acute says, what you think Microsoft does with Bethesda 2021 QuakeCon? I assume they'll just have it like normal since it's already branded and good marketing for them.
Also have to remember the whole part of the deal is that Bethesda is still mostly, they operate on their own terms. It's not, Xbox doesn't control anything that Bethesda is doing. They've kind of made that very clear, is that Bethesda still has freedom to do Bethesda things, so they really wouldn't have any role in that as far as like Microsoft is concerned.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it here for the SpawnCast. Thanks everyone for joining us. Make sure you check everyone out in the link below. We also have Honey down below in the description as well. Join honey.com/SpawnCast. So thanks to them for sponsoring the podcast tonight. And we'll see you guys next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Bye.